But that's really what I love about movies, is that you can have two completely differing opinions.
Yeah.
And yet have a conversation where you can like want to get in a fist fight over it.
Yes.
And then afterwards, like, okay, what are we watching next?
Yeah, exactly. I love disagreeing about films as long as people aren't like, no, that sucked. I can't imagine that you like that. Like that whole thing. Well, I tend to not watch movies with people like that. Do you find that there's certain people that they could still be very good friends, but you're like, I am never watching a movie with them again?
Those people are no longer my friends.
I was being gentle and kind. But same with me. I really feel that film, or at least appreciation, it doesn't have to be the same ones that I like, but there has to be some kind of appreciation of how difficult this cable is to keep track of. Pardon me. I'd like to mention that Gala, for this special occasion, brought the Laserdisc. I'm looking at reverse image. So the Laserdisc, the VHS tape of the
unrated version.
So that's the VHS is the unrated.
Yeah, so the VHS, so the Laserdisc is unrated.
Okay.
Apparently, the VHS is unrated. That was given to me by Matt's Mortuary at Be Kind Video.
Nice. Okay.
He was really awesome. He just actually randomly gave it to me. He didn't know that I was coming here. He just was like, "Hey, take this," and I was like, "Okay."
That's a sign, and a sign I appreciate.
Yeah, and then behind there, I think is the Arrow DVD. Yeah. And then that one over there is like the old Crimes of Passion.
This one, yeah.
That's
this
the
one,
old unrated version.
Okay, and that one, for some reason, they decided, we got to redo the cover for this. Can you imagine? There was a whole industry, basically, of DVD reimagining of artwork. It still goes on to a certain degree, but Arrow will have like, here's the new artwork, and then the slip, you can turn the cover over and have the original.
Oh yeah, you're right, because the inside the slipcase for that one is some really beautiful artwork.
And it's beautiful too. Yeah. It's not like the other ones where you're like the Blues Brothers or something, where you're like, this poster was perfect and you've savaged it.
Yeah.
Do you have, I'm sure, a poster collection? Do you have one?
I do. I actually, Exotic Originals on Instagram has so many good Japanese and Thai posters. So I've just kind of congregated a bunch of posters. My poster that's always hung in my room since I was little is Evil Dead 2.
Oh, okay.
Evil Dead 2, the only movie scarier than Evil Dead is Evil Dead 2. My dad has like this old Metro poster that is just completely destroyed by the rain. My mother's sister left it outside for a short while, and now it's just totally messed up, but it hangs in my room and I love it. And
is that the one with Lambert holding the light?
No. It's the monsters coming out of the like little doorway in the bottom, and the lady's screaming on the side. It's just really,
I've never seen it.
Really?
All I know is the old, was it a Key video? It might have been a Key home video.
I love Key, so
I think I posted about Key, and we didn't realize that we both have a passion for Key home video. The rainbow stripes.
It's the rainbow. I'm
it
gonna
is.
be honest.
It is, and the fabulous little intro.
Yeah, I was watching that video, actually, the reel that you had posted on Instagram
this morning. Amazing. That's so great.
Because you have the private screenings one that's up also.
That was a really fun one to find. And that movie was wild too, and I can't imagine. So on Video Archives, if you haven't heard the episode, what it was, My Nights with Olga.
My Nights with Susan, Sandra, Olga, and Julie is the U.S. title.
I love that. I haven't finished it, but I was also thinking, how is this cropped?
Oh, it's cropped poorly.
Yeah, and especially the sex scene. At the beginning, where she's rubbing the guy's ass, and I'm like, so what could you see here? What would you see here?
So it's really funny because that was the episode that we had Joe Dante on.
That's
and
right.
He was like really upset to watch that on VHS. He was like, why are we watching this on VHS? And then I had found a copy online. It's not there anymore because it got copyright striked.
Yeah.
But there is a Blu-ray of it from Cult Epics. Okay. So you'll get it in good quality. But it's gorgeous. Like the color's beautiful. It's a wonderful movie. And then I told Joe Dante, like, hey, this is where you see it. And he's like, yeah, this is how it should be seen. So don't go watch this one on VHS.
No, it's because it's like super widescreen. I said that, no, I won't. I promise. I promise. Secret's safe with me. I love restorations. I think like Sorcerer looks so incredible in 4K. And there's people I know who are like, it's not on 35, and they get upset. I'm happy. However, if I can see it in widescreen and it looks good, I'm happy with it.
For me, as long as it exists somewhere, that's really what matters. Like some movies need to be restored.
Yes.
And the good news is that hopefully the older versions always exist.
That's what I want as well. And Quentin had mentioned something on the show that I thought was really interesting. DVD Blu-ray series from the archives of Columbia, I think, using actual prints as the source. Now, if there was something where you could have both versions, I would be thrilled with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because actually, films like Taxi Driver, when I was a kid and I saw that, and by the way, yes, I saw that as a kid, much like you saw. We'll get into when you saw Crimes of Passion.
Yeah.
But I thought for a long time that 70s movies just looked like that. And then when I finally saw stuff like that in the way it should have been seen, how it was seen in the theater originally, I was like, oh my God, what the fuck? But I think it also gave me an appreciation for how, I guess, the aesthetics of film. Because, I watch VHS all the time. I still love them. I have literally 10 totes full.
Yeah.
Oh, I have the collection that's on display, and then I have the entire closet full.
It sounds like my house right now. Honestly.
And no matter how much space you're like, I really shouldn't be, you keep getting them.
Yeah. Well, also because the box art is so beautiful. That's what I like, because Blu-rays, they do have beautiful box art, but when they're on my shelf, it's a small spine. And records, I collect records also, a very small collection. But as you and I were talking about, I don't like going to Amoeba and flipping through the records because I get anxiety. It's like there's so much there. I can't see the spine. A VHS tape is almost as good as a manga book.
Oh, okay. Wait, manga?
Manga, Japanese, just books and writing. Because I love the spine design on those.
Yeah.
And so it's to have a thicker spine for me on my shelf. It's colorful. It's fun.
It's good. And also, we both have adult eyesight.
Yeah.
So it's very nice to not have to strain.
I like to be able to look across the room and know what I'm looking at.
Yeah, I like that too. And especially with, I think I'm going to swap out. This is going to go over here. And this is going to go back because the red box is so alluring. And the other thing is the blue.
It fell behind you.
Well, oh, it did?
Yeah, the blue version, I think, is the...
That's the cut version.
Yes. And it's confusing because on the Arrow DVD, the blue disc is the unrated version.
Yes.
And the red disc is the theatrical.
Right. And I've never watched the theatrical. I think I've only ever seen the unrated version, which is fine with me. And I'll have to watch it now because your dad prefers. My dad was always a champion of Crimes of Passion. He saw it actually in theaters when it first came out. I love that.
Which is crazy to me.
It's crazy. You know what? Thinking of seeing a Ken Russell film upon release
in theaters.
Yeah, it's crazy to me.
I know.
Because his stuff is so transgressive, and it is now. So 40 years ago.
Well, that's Ken Russell as a director. His goal was always to push the envelope. He wanted to piss people off. And that's one of the things I love about him. Yeah. Is that he was like, what can I do today to really upset these people? I'm going to do it. And that's why he has all these crazy things. And often he's misunderstood.
I think he's wildly misunderstood. We'll get into the Siskel and Ebert review a little later. One of my favorite things is just to throw their reviews in, because sometimes both of them miss it. Ebert gave All That Jazz a thumbs down. And that, to me...
People have their reasons, I guess.
I guess he later recanted. Fair enough. And it was his opinion at the time, and also of that era, of two kind of stuffy... Well, Gene was the stuffy one. But then every once in a while, Gene would surprise me. But here's the thing. Gene's opinion on every movie is tainted by the fact that he gave a thorough recommendation or an enthusiastic recommendation to Blame It on Rio. Have you seen that?
No, I haven't.
I'm going to do a movie club on it because it's so disgusting.
Okay. Then I'm going to have to watch it.
Yeah. Because you like the disgusting ones.
I do like the disgusting ones.
I love that. I love that. The raunchier and the worse it is.
It's funny. It's I have two sides of me, two wolves that live within me. I have the raunchy, wants it all. And then I have Please Take Me to Puss in Boots in the Mario movie.
Sure.
And something very gentle and fun loving and silly. And there's not really any in between.
I like that though. That's it's like Brian Ferry once said about culture. He said, I want super highbrow and super lowbrow, and everything in the middle I have no interest in.
Yeah.
I'm a bit like that as well. I don't like anything that is King of Queens, anything like that. I want shit that's super edgy, maybe disturbs me. And then I've told people a couple times about that movie Bad Timing, A Sensual Obsession.
Yeah.
I've said, listen, this movie disturbed me, okay? So I'm telling you.
Caution.
Yeah, caution. Or I think White of the Eye was another one. I said, this is intense, and I'm saying it's intense. So
Yeah.
Have you seen White of the Eye?
No. I'm getting all these movie recommendations of all these like probably salacious movies that I have to watch.
Oh, you want salacious films?
Oh my God. I know.
Come
it's
to
like,
me.
Craig, hello. What should I watch? It's 10 a.m. on a Tuesday.
Oh, it's 10 a.m. Okay, well, you've seen all the Ken Russell films, although neither of us have seen all the Ken Russell films.
No, I've seen, okay, so including his short films and his music videos, which he did a lot of.
Which we were talking about this morning.
We were texting about this morning, sending back Elton John music videos and like, oh, here's this other one he did. I've seen about 28 of his movies.
That's so much better than my track record. And I was embarrassed this morning when I thought, I always say, oh, I'm a fucking huge Ken Russell fan. And I've not seen a large balance of his films. I tried watching Savage Messiah last year, but I was not in a headspace to watch it.
Yeah, that movie you really have to like dedicate yourself to.
And I really wanted to, and I could tell. I was like, I don't want to spoil this because I'm not in the headspace. The Boyfriend, I had a dot. The sound was really tinny, and I went, I want to really enjoy this.
Yeah.
But then what happens with that is then I go, oh, okay, it's on the pile. And
the dreaded pile.
The dreaded pile. And everyone's always said, Craig, The Boyfriend, you're going to flip out.
You are going to flip out. I know, because the moment I saw The Boyfriend, I cried. The first 5 minutes, I wept.
Yeah.
It was so beautiful. And I do cry usually at the first 5 minutes of every Ken Russell movie.
I am a big crier in films. I like to tell people I once cried at a Cheap Trick concert during an Up number. I cry at movies. It's one of my favorite things ever, is when a movie affects me like that. It is the best. I'm trying to think of the last movie that did that to me. Tar, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Did you see Tar?
No, not yet.
I think you'll enjoy it.
Okay.
It's
I've heard
emotionally,
it's really good.
Yeah, emotionally rough. And also, it's not clear cut about morality and various things. It's sort of like, as we were talking about on the walk here, it presents a picture of what is.
Yeah.
And all of that.
Yeah, the last movie I cried in, oh God, I wept like a baby the entire movie. I think it's called 13 Lives.
I've heard of it.
It's about the Thai soccer team that was stuck inside that cave.
Oh my God.
And they had to, the true story basically, this is not the documentary because there's a documentary of it, but the true story of how they had to dive underwater and basically dive each of the boys back. And I knew nothing about the news story when it broke because it was so upsetting to me. And so watching the movie, I just wept the entire time. It was so powerful for me.
Yeah.
And I loved it. So.
And then I have to see that now. And then I remember I cried during Thief as well.
Yeah.
The diner scene.
That's the scene that stands out to me.
Yeah, it's one of the greatest scenes of all time. And that movie I can see maybe once a year or something, and it still just resonates. I feel like you're a big Michael Mann fan. You know,
I wouldn't call myself a big Michael Mann fan, but I appreciate him for sure as a director. But Collateral, if we're going to talk about Michael Mann, I have to talk about Collateral, because whose idea was it to make Tom Cruise gray? I don't know. But it was an amazing idea.
It was an amazing idea.
It.
And that movie came out right at the time that he was going nuts on TV shows. And that I watched Collateral and I went, that's how good of an actor he is. I have not thought about the jumping on the couch this entire time. Yeah. And I fully believe him in this. And it's incredible.
If I remember correctly, is Collateral his first movie that he shot on video?
Yes,
not film?
On digital.
Yes.
And then I heard him even say that the prints looked terrible. So when it screened at 35, I was like, I'm not going to see that. I'm going to go see it on the thing it was supposed to be seen on. He's another one like Friedkin who's like, no, digital is the way to see my movies.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. And I love that because, Manhunter is one of my favorites of all time.
Yeah.
And the lurid colors as we get closer to talking about crimes of passion. But this is how I like to do the show, as I think you know. We're talking about movies. And if you're going to talk about movies, you got to talk about all the other movies.
I mean, also, like, we have all the posters that are right here. I was staring at them when I came in.
Oh, fantastic. I love that. I'll show you some other ones that I don't have up yet.
Great.
And like including The Lonely Lady, which I like to mention.
Which we just talked about.
We did, and I have to mention every time it comes up, that's actually Ray Liotta's first film, which before IMDb, he was able to omit from his filmography. I don't want to. I'll show you the first 5 minutes later.
Okay.
That way, I don't have to tell you what he does.
Yeah.
And so we have Body Double, Hedwig and the Angry Inch, Tommy. That might be my favorite Ken Russell film.
You know, that was actually the very, very, very first Ken Russell movie I saw when I was a child. My dad showed it to me, and so in my brain, it was always just the pinball movie.
Yes. That makes sense.
He sure plays a mean pinball.
He sure does.
And I just always remembered it as that's the pinball movie, and he's a pinball wizard. And of course, I rewatched it as an adult, and I love it.
It's brilliant on so many levels, and I mean Pete Townshend's whole career I love, but also that piece in particular. I remember when it clicked when I was watching Tommy for the millionth time, because my brother worked at a video store, and I could get anything I wanted all the time. And it was one of those old mom and pop shops, not quite as extensive as Video Archives, but not that far off in terms of the music section was floor to ceiling, and multiple like shelf.
And where was
cabinets.
this?
This was in Maynard, Mass, I think.
Yeah, do you remember what it was called?
Oh God. I should ask my brother.
Yeah, you should.
I bet you bought a tape from them.
I know. I probably bought a tape from them, or Eli maybe rented from them.
Mediametric.
Okay, I'm going to ask Eli if he rented from Mediametric.
Please do, because with the place he mentioned, was it Video Smith?
I think he mentioned Video Smith, and then there was another one that sold pizza, I think, also.
Okay, the
there
pizza
were two,
one
but
I'm
the
not
video,
sure
I think he
about.
did mention Video Smith.
Video Smith I've been to, for sure.
Okay.
That was, and again, when I listened to that episode, so for those who are not aware, Eli was a guest customer on Video Archives for the American Giallo series, which featured some of my favorite movies ever, Eyes of Laura Mars, Dress to Kill.
Happy Birthday to Me,
Thank you.
and then Alice, Sweet Alice. But Happy Birthday to Me actually wasn't supposed to be on the show.
Oh, really?
We were supposed to cover The Fan with Lauren Bacall.
Oh my God,
and
I
love that movie.
I love
it.
that.
But Quentin's tape was messed up.
Oh no!
Yeah, they actually couldn't watch it, so they switched to Happy Birthday to Me, which was and it was funny. We actually recorded it the weekend of Quentin's birthday, so it all worked out fine. But I have a copy of The Fan.
Okay.
I've told Quentin I'll lend it to him because I would love for them to talk about it, because I love Lauren Bacall.
I would love that too, and also the show that she's in.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Do you know her High Point coffee ads?
No.
Okay. At a certain point, we'll take a break. I'll give you
The
headphones.
first 5 minutes and the coffee ads and everything.
Exactly. And I have a couple Ken clips that we'll play later, and I can insert them. I'm trying to do not as much editing. I got into an editing thing. I'm sure you've done it too.
Yeah.
Where you're like, that breath, I'll take that breath out. And then you go, well, I took that one breath out. Maybe I'll take all the breaths out.
Take every breath out, and then all of a sudden add them back in.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I think Steely Dan did something like that once. It was like an accidental sound. And I'm like, well, we want to shift that to somewhere else. Edititis or something, but that was what the pandemic was for. Losing my mind editing. Anyway, what were we saying? So yeah, Mediametric was the name of it.
Yes.
And he brought it home for me because I loved The Who already. Mm-hmm. I was obsessed with the poster and the album cover. So a kid I went to school with, his dad had the album cover, and I just would stare at it. I was like, I've got to see this. And anytime I saw that poster,
gorgeous.
It's so gorgeous. And if you don't know what it's about, it like you're like, what the hell is this?
That scene where I forget her name. Okay, the lead
Anne Margaret.
Yeah, Anne Margaret. Okay, when Anne Margaret is in the room and like all the beans come out, or the chocolate, I think it's beans.
It's
when
beans.
all the beans flood the room, like what the heck is going on? That is peak Ken Russell.
It's peak Ken Russell. Also, it's beans and then champagne. And you know what?
So British.
It's so British.
British.
There was an accident on the set of that.
Oh, really?
So one of the pieces of glass from the TV.
Oh, was actually, yeah, I've heard about this.
And she was like really in danger. Like it hit an artery. They had to like rush her to the hospital.
Gosh.
And of course, she's covered in beans. She also said that the beans were like, that whole experience, surprisingly, right, was not that pleasant because it was cold.
I can't imagine.
I know. How is that possible? And then, they must have been like, okay, it's time to kill this set. 'Cause I want a room like that eventually. That's all like fluffy white.
You want the beans with it too?
Well, maybe, possibly. I'd like that as an option. I want that as an option. Yeah, like if I go for it, that's a TV also that would spew it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, okay, little things that he has in fake commercials and fake music videos.
Yes.
Big thing.
Well, music and other artists shape him completely as a director. And as we kind of go through his filmography, I can start spewing about it right now if we want. I actually had to bring the filmography because there's so many movies that he does. I love Ken Russell.
Oh, did you bring a copy for me too?
No, you don't get it.
Right.
You don't get it. Right. It's actually not his complete filmography because I would die going through that because I'd be like, oh, and then this movie, and then this movie.
No, that's okay though, because listen, I'm thrilled that remember I said you are the Ken Russell expert.
I know. Somehow I've become the Ken Russell expert. So I'll take it. It's funny. I had seen Tommy, and then back in I looked at my Letterboxd. August. Actually, no. It was sometime 2021 or no 2020. Sometime in 2020, I took a class, an ancient Gnosticism class, and we covered several movies. We actually covered Hedwig and the Angry Inch.
Oh, cool.
And we had to like compare it to a Gnostic text. For Hedwig, it was about the twin. Thomas the Twin, which was really interesting. But we covered Ken Russell's Altered States. And when I saw it for the first time, it just completely blew my mind. It changed my life.
I can imagine.
Yeah, it was a shocking revelation. And it changed my life. And I know Ken Russell hates the movie.
See, I did not know that because I avoided all information about the film. All I knew is that Paddy Chayefsky was furious with Ken Russell.
Yeah, so they got into just a really big tiff, basically. And Ken Russell said that it was, I think, the first time that control had ever been taken away from him creatively on a movie. And he said, I will never make another American movie ever again.
Oh, okay. That's why. Because I didn't realize control was taken away from him because there's no evidence of that.
Yeah, and I feel the same way. Like, I think it's Ken Russell's best movie, or my favorite movie of Ken Russell's.
Yeah, sure.
Because, I mean, we could argue which one's the quote best.
Well, I mean, best always usually to me means your favorite. You know what I mean?
But it's definitely my favorite. And he said he would never make another American movie again. But then, of course, he made Crimes of Passion, which is other American movie. And
horror. Isn't that American funded as well?
Yeah, actually, horror might be American funded.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I'm actually seeing horror. It's playing on Tuesday in 35 millimeter at Los Feliz.
What?
I know. I got tickets to it, part of the American Cinematheque.
Okay, I'm checking my schedule because
I know.
That's fucking
I've never
wild.
seen horror. Horror is one of the ones I haven't seen yet. And so when I heard that it was playing on 35, I was like, I gotta go.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be there. So I'll be there. But Ken Russell, basically, like, of course, he's making short films, but he really started with his BBC shorts. And a lot of his BBC shorts are documentary series. Mm-hmm. So he does everything about musicians and artists.
Sure, like
But
Mahler
Pop Goes the Easel. But even before that, all of his shorts.
Okay.
So like Pop Goes the Easel, Elgar Portrait of a Composer, the Debussy film, Always on a Sunday, which is about a painter. Isadora Duncan, he did a documentary on her for The Biggest Dancer in the World. Of course, and then he gets into like his feature-length films, and he does like The Music Lovers, which is not necessarily a musical film, but it has a lot of music in it.
Yeah.
And talk of it. Savage Messiah, which is all about a sculptor. Mm-hmm. He's really interested in that. Mahler, which I actually think is one of the most touching Ken Russell films.
Really?
It's actually a very uplifting movie, which is unexpected for Ken Russell because there's a lot of angst in his movies.
Yeah, and emotional content.
Yeah, but that one is like a really... You should not watch that one first. You should give yourself to Ken Russell and his angst a little bit and then be surprised by the beauty of Mahler.
Yeah, right. Watching that first, it would set you up for real confusion, I imagine.
And then, I mean, Tommy and Lisztomania. I had to bring those two up back to back
in the same year.
It's
and
shocking.
Now, Lisztomania, I was on the hunt for as a kid because like no one had it. It came out once on the VHS, the Warner Brothers VHS. That wasn't even a clamshell. It was the large box right after the WCI run of video. But then I was at, oh my God, I was at a Videosmith in Boston. They had one in Boston. And my friend at the time had a membership there, and their cult section was rather robust. And I saw it, and I went, oh my God, this movie. And it was funny because it was a girl I was friends with where there was like, maybe it was like that thing where you're friends with someone and then like you find out later you were both attracted to each other and you should have done something. So imagine in that context, watching Lisztomania, which for those who don't know, starts with Roger Daltrey kissing the nipples of one of his many lovers in the film to a metronome, and then they speed the metronome up and he does it faster. And that's the like lightest sexual content in the film.
My favorite part of that movie is the giant paper mache penis.
It's the best.
It's wild.
The best.
It's because that's when the movie goes too far.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, Ken Russell has succeeded in turning me off from this movie. He succeeded. But I like the movie a lot, but I always try to find the point where Ken Russell's like, where can I piss someone off the most?
Okay.
And I'm like, okay, he's doing it now. Like he's getting there. But I mean, and then also like you and I were texting back and forth, like after Crimes of Passion, he goes and he does all those Elton John music videos.
Yes.
So it's like he's back in England doing musical stuff. And then he does his short for Aria, which I'm not sure if you haven't seen. But
I didn't get to watch
yet.
The
story behind Aria is that I think it's 10 filmmakers.
Yeah.
Each got $1 million.
Really? I didn't know that
I think
part.
It's $1 million.
Yeah, no, it's probably the case.
But each filmmaker got $1 million, and they were sent off to make a short film based on an aria. And so Ken Russell did Nessun Dorma from Turandot. I probably mispronounced that terribly.
That's okay.
But I'm not a classical musician, so I get a free pass on that one.
Ken was the classical fan.
Yeah.
We don't have to be.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he did it for us.
Yeah. But I think that's the best short in the play. Julian Temple does a short.
I love
which
Julian
is
Temple.
Fantastic. His short's amazing. Godard does a short.
Oh, wow.
He actually pocketed the $1 million and instead just went and shot men working out at the gym, which was really intelligent of him. And it made for a very interesting short film.
I can imagine.
But nothing compares to Ken Russell's short in that. So he really loves artists, and specifically musicians. And I think that just carries over into all of his work.
It does. And I think the other vignette is Robert Altman, which is how I found out about that movie, because I am a huge Robert Altman fan. But unlike when I say I'm a huge Ken Russell fan, I've actually seen almost all the Altman films. However, I've saved Thieves Like Us, but yet had to miss the double feature because I wasn't in a good headspace. So I went, okay, I have the disc. I'm going to watch it.
Yeah.
And then I can listen to the episode.
Yeah, I wonder which short he did on Aria. I don't remember which one.
Well, now I have to see the film, the full film. Because, I mean, come on, that's what an appetizing
group
array.
of people.
Yeah.
For sure. And a young Tilda Swinton is in one of the shorts.
That's right.
It's in like one of her first roles.
Yeah.
And then who else? There's another actress that's in it, and she's in the scene, like there's a suicide scene between two lovers, and she's in the bathtub with her lover, I guess, during it.
Oh, wow.
It's a very effective moment with the short, with the music. I mean, music makes it, so.
Yeah, exactly. That was the whole aim, right? And but Ken's use of music is incredible, and it's funny that you mentioned Lisztomania, the point that with which you could have been turned off, because there's quite a few in that movie. Now, if anyone doesn't want Lisztomania spoiled, skip the next few minutes.
Yeah.
Because as you can see, folks, the Lisztomania soundtrack is there. And if you want a taste of how outrageous the movie is, listen to the Paul Nicholas song on it, which is, I think even the title is disturbing. But anyway, also, sidebar, I don't know if you've noticed on the bar over there, I have the Paul Nicholas autobiography.
Oh my gosh.
I am obsessed with Paul Nicholas. Obsessed. So I first saw him in Tommy, and then I saw him in the Sgt. Pepper movie.
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
The one that was
the Bee Gees and
wait, is that the one though that is released by Canon? Globus? No, because there is a Sgt. Pepper's.
Oh, I think did they do all this in World War II or something?
Remember.
They did something vaguely Beatles related.
Yeah.
But so this was the Bee Gees and Aerosmith and Peter Frampton, George Burns, Alice Cooper, and Paul Nicholas, who plays Dougie Shears.
Yeah.
And of course in Tommy plays Cousin Kevin.
Of course.
Of course. And as a kid, pre-internet and only having a video movie guide, I was like, two things. After seeing that Lisztomania was Ken Russell's film in which they described it as when he lost his mind, and the fact that they gave it a turkey instead of any stars, and it was made the same year as Tommy, starring Roger Daltrey, I was like, I must see this movie. I have the UK DVD, and because when it finally came out, I got it and all that, and then I have it on Laserdisc.
Yeah.
And a couple other, I think, editions of it, but. And what was I saying before that?
We're talking about listening to the music in it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And the music, of course, was provided by Rick Wakeman.
Yes, who also did Crimes of Passion. It's his other one that he worked with Ken Russell on.
That's right. And he makes an appearance in both. Now, his appearance in Crimes of Passion, a little less shocking than the one in Lisztomania.
Yeah.
I think, it'd be great. So Charlotte Kemp Mule from Uni and the Urchins is obsessed with Lisztomania as well. And I would love to do a movie club on that. And I would love to have you be a part of that.
I would love to. That movie is crazy though, especially because it's back to back with Tommy, and then it's like, what can we make that is just insane with the people that we have?
Yes, exactly. And also Daltrey starring in it is crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, and Ringo stars the Pope. This is not really too many spoilers.
Yeah, but Ringo stars the Pope. He's my favorite Beatle.
So have you seen all the Ringo films?
No, I have not seen all the Ringo films. I got to get on it.
Yeah.
My father, he used to play me when I was a kid, the Yellow Submarine movie. And of course, then as an adult, I know they're not voicing themselves, which was heartbreaking.
Yes, I know.
That was actually, it broke my heart when I learned that. But I used to love watching the Beatles movies when I was little, like Help. I love Help with the Ring.
Help's my favorite. Kahili, Kahili. When Peter was born, we would joke. I would hold him up and go Kahili, Kahili.
It used to make me want like a bed that was sunken into the floor so bad, because I'll never forget the scene where the four Beatles, they go into like their individual like doors, their flats, and then it's all of them. It's so good.
It's one of the greatest visual gags ever.
Yeah.
I think Help is their best movie.
I think it might be too. I mean, I guess you can consider The Yellow Submarine their movie, even though they're not acting in it. They are technically lending their voices for the music.
Yeah.
And I think it's a marvelous movie.
And the soundtrack is fantastic.
My God, it has some of my 2 favorite Beatles songs on it. It has Hey Bulldog, which is like amazing, and Nowhere Man.
Yeah, that's right. Nowhere Man is fantastic. And also All Together Now. So when they show up at the end, I cry. When they show up at the end, I cry.
I cry all the time. So it's like I'm crying the entire movie.
Beatles stuff, so Ada and I saw Hard Day's Night, and I'd never seen it in the theater before. I'd seen it on tape a million times, but I also hadn't seen it in at least 25 years. And when they did If I Fell in Love with You, I just was sobbing because I was with Ada, and it was like so touching. And
I love
it was so, yeah, we've had a couple of musical moments like that. When I had to leave England the last time, I said, okay, I know we're packing, but listen, we have to do something. And just come here for a sec. And I put on Rainbow Connection. Aww. And yeah, we haven't misting up talking about it. And so, yeah, that was really sweet. And we share a deep abiding love, some would say passion maybe, for Paul Williams and his work.
We love Paul. As my dad says, Sir Paul Williams.
Sir, I'm going to go along with that.
Because it's not an official title, but we are bequeathing it to him.
Yes, because he is royalty.
He is to us. And I mean, I listen to the Bugsy Malone soundtrack 24/7 in the car. I listen to the Phantom of the Paradise soundtrack 24/7 in the car. His lyrics are amazing. In Phantom of the Paradise, I'm just going to go on a Phantom of the Paradise rant real quick.
No,
Phantom
please.
Of the Paradise,
it's not the first time on my show that's happened. So
it won't be the last.
No.
Whenever I take a playlist or a soundtrack, because I never used to be like a soundtrack person, I'll take the soundtrack, I'll put it in a playlist, and I'll edit out the songs I don't like.
Oh, okay.
And then if an artist has B-sides, I'll put them in place. Like Carly Rae Jepsen, I have my own basically discography for her at this point.
That's great. Yeah.
But
sometimes the B-sides are the best songs.
They typically are the best, especially with Carly Rae Jepsen, which I love her. So I just have to name drop her. But with Paul Williams, I always removed the Phantoms theme from the Phantom of the Paradise. And then as an adult, I was like, hey, I'm missing a song in my playlist, and I went and I was like listening to the Phantoms theme, and I'm like, why did I take this out? It's some of the best lyrics, like all the devils that disturbed me and the angels that defeated them somehow come together in me now, and I have been the world and I've seen it turning. And I listened to that and I'm like, wow. And just, he is an icon.
He is. I went when New Bev played the double of Phantom of the Paradise and Suspiria. I went 2 nights in a row. I almost went to all 3.
Wonderful.
The print was one of the best prints I've ever seen in my life.
Wonderful.
And Michael told me that it was an archive print, and then he explained to me what an archive print was. I didn't know. I just thought, man, we found a good one, and we keep it in a vault. No, it's that they make a new one at some point from the inner positive or whatever. And I was like, that's why. I was like, this almost looks like buttery. I don't even know why that word comes to mind.
No, because it is smooth like butter.
Yes, it is. And I'd never seen it so beautiful. And I have the Blu-ray. I used to have the VHS.
God, I need them to program it. If someone from the New Beverly's watching, come on, guys, program it.
Do it again, because all 3 nights sold out rather quickly.
Yeah.
And I also, sometimes I feel bad if the movie's not loud enough at the New Beverly. There's one projectionist who I think is a little overcautious. I don't know who they are, and I'm not saying anything bad about the theater.
Right.
Do you know that there was a drinking game for a while with the podcast?
I did not know.
Every time I mention New Beverly, take a shot.
Oh God, I'd be under the table.
I know. Anyone would be, right? It'd be crazy. Yeah, it's every episode. I re-aired an old, a previously Patreon only episode about Romeo and Michelle's high school reunion with Rod Thomas, and in the first 5 minutes, I mentioned not only the New Beverly, but To Live and Die in L.A. and Wang Chung. So, like, the obsession is deep. I first saw Phantom of the Paradise when, and we should do a movie club on that sometime. I had Jessica Harper on the show, and she agreed to do it, but it was pre-pandemic, and then things slowed. I think she has different representation now, but I'm going to get in touch with her because I thought she'd be frightened at all the shock treatment stuff I had around. Like, I have to get out of this apartment because he might kill me. Because I have the poster, which used to sit over there. Over there on the bar, I have the 7-inch single for the theme song, the VHS, and the cassette.
Yeah.
And the vinyl somewhere. But anyway, she was like, yeah, I'd do one for that. And then Phantom as well. I'm going to ask Paul.
Yeah, I have a Japanese poster for Phantom of the Paradise.
So you love the Japanese posters.
You know what? I love all posters.
Okay.
I love Czech posters. I love Japanese posters. I love US posters. I love Thai posters. I love any kind of poster that I think has awesome art. I'll take it.
For a movie you dig, especially.
For a movie I dig, yeah. And there's some where it's like, I might like another poster better, but like, for example, like the poster for Frantic. I do like.
Oh my God, I can't. I was like, oh yeah, no, I love that movie.
I love that movie so much. I love Frantic. I think Frantic is one of the greatest love stories ever told.
I haven't seen it since VHS, which to me always means 30 years ago. So I need to watch it again.
It's like yesterday.
Yeah, no, I know, which I love. I transfer VHS. Oh, you all were talking about the best VHS deck, and I couldn't figure out if you guys were talking about the one over there, which I'll show you. It's what you would have found in a TV studio in the mid 80s, but it has a time-based corrector on it.
Oh, that's nice.
It's really nice, and it has multiple outs, like the coax. Coax. I can't remember the name of it, but you can go out SVHS. You can go out this other one. You know, the one that you push the thing on and lock it. They use it on cameras anyway. You know what I'm talking about.
Yes, I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
and it's good because apparently I don't. So it has all that stuff, and you can tune the color. So I do a lot of transfers with that stuff.
That's great.
And speaking of dead media, I got a high-end Betamax deck that I bought new old stock.
Oh my God, we were just talking about, I think before we got on, about how that one Betamax tape for Wrestler's Rhapsody was like $700 on eBay.
Yeah, but I mean, the guy clearly wasn't checking other listings.
No, but also he clearly doesn't care. It's like, if you really want my Wrestler's Rhapsody, you can have it for $700.
That's right. You can. Yeah, you can. And another film you mentioned on Video Archives that people have been hunting for is Better Late Than Never. And I have a copy. I didn't finish his story. It's lost in the post. I found it for like £18, and it's floating around between a company that does not have an English. What do you call it? It's a Spanish company that doesn't have an interface for English speakers. And the post office says, they each say different things. So hopefully at one point I will watch it.
You know, that movie, it's so funny because when it aired, I actually didn't have the tape yet.
Oh, okay.
And I went to my guy, Frankie Latina. I was like, Frankie, can you hook me up? Hook a sister up. He had a copy. So I do have a copy. I can lend it to you if you'd like.
Oh, I'd love that.
Yes.
Thank you.
If I had known, I would have brought it today.
Oh, that's so sweet.
It's a key home video.
It is a key home video.
But I can lend it to you.
That's fantastic.
Until your tape comes back from where it's vacation, wherever it is.
It's a DVD under the other title, Menage a Trois.
Yes. You are right, because I saw that was the other title for it.
And from
which
the
I think is a better title.
Yeah, and it is okay.
I think it's a better title than Better Late Than Never.
Well, I'm excited to experience it and then maybe discuss it at some point with like a raft of movies, like a sort of loose assembly movie club of like various titles. But Ken ran into trouble. Well, first with censors, which we'll get into, but sometime in the 80s, he started to not be able to get films financed, right?
You know what? I'm not quite sure, but I know that he had a lot of trouble with Crimes of Passion. So Crimes of Passion was, actually, before we get into that, we talked about Rick Wakeman. I love him, but I have to just say really quick.
No, everything you have there, I want you to say.
I was listening to the music because it's an iconic soundtrack.
Oh my God, it's incredible.
And it really sells it, because the whole movie to me of Crimes of Passion is basically the Big Bad Wolf and like Little Red Riding Hood.
Oh, that's amazing.
Which is really interesting. And I'll talk more about the themes of it later. But the majority of the melodies were directly lifted from the Czech composer Anton Dvorak's New World Symphony.
Yeah.
And I don't know if anyone out there is a Puss in Boots 2 fan, like I am. I think it's, I'll give it third best movie of 2022.
Okay, that's good.
Number 1 is Sonic 2, and number 2 is Top Gun. So,
well, you know what?
That's my taste.
Those are 3 films that I never planned on watching, but now I'm intrigued.
You should watch. You don't even need to watch Puss in Boots 1. You can just watch Puss in Boots 2.
Skip right ahead.
Skip right ahead. But in that, there's the wolf whistle, which has been like, it's kind of turned into a meme online, where it's like when death is coming, you hear the wolf whistle. I think that the composer of Puss in Boots 2 either watched Crimes of Passion and lifted it, or listened to the same by Dvorak
yeah.
and lifted it from there because it is tonally, and like I actually put it on while Crimes of Passion was playing and my dad was like, oh yeah, that's Crimes of Passion. I'm like, no, that's the wolf whistle from Puss in Boots 2.
Oh, that's wild.
So it's like it's either one or the other. So I'm dying to know if someone worked on Puss in Boots 2 in the music department. Please call me.
Yes, let us know.
I need to know. But so this originally when Crimes of Passion was happening, Barry Sandler, the writer, I'm sorry.
No, that's right. Yeah.
Sandler.
I think it's Sandler. And if we're not sure, the Making Love. Oh, unfortunately, the Making Love
here,
DVD.
You can actually grab probably one of the things right behind you.
I bet we could find it out on the. Yeah. Let's see.
Here, grab maybe the VHS box will have it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know. Let's just grab. I think it's Barry Sandler. I want to make sure I get the guy's name right.
Let's see if I can read this with my contact. Yes, he is. Barry Sandler.
Okay.
You got it in one.
I got it. Thank God. But Barry Sandler, I think he's the reason why this movie is great. But he's a professor right now at the University of Central Florida.
Oh.
So if he calls me after this, I'd be really happy to talk about this movie with him because I have theories about the script. But he was the originator of the story and the idea.
Yeah.
And originally it was supposed to be written as a 2-character story between China Blue and the Anthony Perkins character.
Who was a shoe salesman, right? In the original.
Well, actually, maybe he was a shoe salesman. There were apparently like 100 drafts of it that he developed over the years. But when it eventually got to Ken Russell, he was supposed to be a psychiatrist.
That's right.
Kind of like Dressed to Kill.
Yes, very much like that. Yeah.
And he was supposed to be kind of following her into her life as China Blue. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, the movie gained more characters and gained kind of more tones. And once the script was developed enough, they went to several directors and everyone was kind of just turning it down.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And then they were like, well, who can we go to? Well, you can't get much more audacious than Ken Russell.
Right.
So let's go to him.
Right.
And Ken read the script and he had said, I will never again make an American production. But here's Crimes of Passion. And I really like the script.
Yes.
So let's go do this.
I think the story, if I'm remembering correctly, is that he got like 2 scripts or something. Or he was saying he was getting all these scripts that were trash. And then he got that and he went on a flight. And when he got off the plane, he called Sandler or whoever and was like, I'm making this. Yeah. And then Sandler was thrilled because he's like, oh my God, this is the guy that will actually put my vision on screen.
Yeah. And they made the movie. And obviously they changed Anthony Perkins from a psychiatrist to this like drugged out reverend / maybe hobo, like down on his luck sex addict guy. I don't know what he is.
Yeah.
But they did that because Perkins had just played a psychiatrist on Broadway.
That's right, for a long time.
Yeah, for a long time. And he didn't want to play a psychiatrist again, so they developed this character for him.
And you know what? Let's give, for the folks who haven't watched the movie, let's give a brief summary of the plot. Kathleen Turner is fashion designer by day, prostitute by night, and prostitute by choice, and goes under the name China Blue. And she has a different persona for each of her Johns. And Perkins is this priest, in quotes, that is obsessed with her. And then...
That's an understatement.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. I like to be understated on the show. It's a very subtle show. Then the other main character is a unhappily married man who isn't even aware of the fact that he's an unhappy married man, who, through other... machinations of Kathleen Turner's boss, who thinks that she's stealing company secrets and selling them, and
because she works too hard. That's his whole reason, is that she works too hard and it makes him nervous.
And she's a woman.
Yeah. Honestly, when my dad and we were watching it together last night, and when the guy is like giving his reasoning for Kathleen Turner why he thinks it's her, and the guy's like, "There's like, you have no like proof that it's her," and he's like, "She works too hard. Yeah. It has to like, there's something hidden." I was like, "Man, that's like me. I work too hard." And, like,
you have something hidden.
I must have something hidden. I don't need a guy to come follow me around though. I'm good.
That guy is hired to spy on her.
Yeah, John Laughlin.
John Laughlin, which was it was his first film. The role was originally going to be played by Bruce Davidson. No, there was someone else.
Was it? Okay, because they went to several actors. I know that Alec Baldwin was one of them they went to, and he turned it down.
Yeah, Jeff Bridges is the one.
Jeff Bridges. I think Jeff Bridges originally wanted $3 million to play the role. He dropped it down to $1 million, and then they couldn't afford him, so they passed on him. And there was one other actor, I can't remember, but Alec Baldwin, Jeff Bridges, and then What a different movie it would have been. It would
have been a wildly different movie.
I wish, though, it had been Bruce Davison, personally.
He would have been really good in it, because John Laughlin, at first, you're like, ooh, I don't know about this.
I don't know. The whole time, I don't know about this. Sorry if you're out there.
Sorry, John, if you're watching this. Maybe I'll reach out to him and be like, can you explain to me what? Yeah.
Well, actually, Ken Russell said that he chose him because he almost didn't seem to know what he was doing. And he felt that not even that he didn't know what he was doing, that he felt uncomfortable in all moments. Yeah. And Ken Russell was like, that will really inform the character, because the character too should feel like they're uncomfortable in all moments.
That's a brilliant casting method. Like Kubrick cast Ryan O'Neal and Barry Lyndon, because Barry Lyndon, sadly, is a film I still have not seen.
Oh my God, you have to watch it.
I know.
Oh my God.
It's a big embarrassment that I haven't seen it.
It's okay, because you'll get to see it exactly when you're meant to.
That's how I feel about that stuff too. And I appreciate you saying that, because the other thing is, that's why Thieves Like Us, I've been saving it, because there's not that many Altman films left for me.
That's like me, The Devils, Lair of the White Worm, all this random Ken Russell, like the Ken Russell's Planets. I'm saving it. I know it's an educational movie about planets.
Still.
It's Ken Russell, and I'm saving it.
Yes, exactly. Have you seen that one that's like his own autobiography on the BBC, and it's like all bizarro?
No, but I will watch that one day.
Yes, you will enjoy that.
It will find its way to me.
It will. I'll send it to you, because
great.
I found it because I was trying to dig up any interview about Crimes of Passion, and there's precious few things. Kathleen Turner, of course, has some stuff in her book, which I think.
Yeah, I also found that she did a fan Q&A with The Guardian, where people just online were able to send her questions, and she answered. And so a few of them were about Crimes of Passion. And so I found those online. Yeah.
And some of the facts that she mentions is the drug use.
Yes.
In the film, because legendarily, Anthony Perkins insisted on doing poppers before every take.
Yes, he did. Here's some quotes.
Yes.
When asked about working with Ken Russell and Anthony Perkins, I have always thought Crimes of Passion was a very powerful film. Amen to that.
Absolutely.
Some of my best work, I think. Not an easy job, though. Anthony Perkins, I can say, because it was common knowledge on set, was doing God knows what drugs, and Ken at the time was still drinking heavily.
White wine in particular.
Yes, so that created difficulties that didn't need to have been there. I walked into Ken's trailer at 6 o'clock in the morning and was asked if I wanted a glass of wine. No, thank you, Ken. Another person asked her, and she said, working with Ken Russell was not the easiest experience, though. I did welcome the feeling that he pushed me into new territory. Before Ken passed away, I got a lovely letter from him offering me Queen of Hearts. He was going to reshoot Alice in Wonderland, but he said not to worry. My court would be naked, but not me.
Oh my God.
Because he's famous for having just women completely nude, obviously. I mean, Helen Mirren in Savage Messiahs, I think it's Savage Messiahs, is just walking around stark naked, and what a beautiful body she has. But oh my gosh, what other director could get her to do that?
I know. And in Lisztomania, Little Nell, famous as being Columbia that's right? Columbia?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, in Rocky Horror, who's nude in pretty much every movie that she's been in. She's in The Wall briefly, and I think she's nude. Jubilee, nude. Rocky Horror, she has a nip slip.
Yeah.
So it counts. Yeah, right, exactly. It's like halfway, half in and half out. And of course, Lisztomania, very nude, as are a lot of other women.
Yeah. But so Crimes of Passion, though, it definitely was, it looked like it was a interesting / difficult production. I mean, you have Anthony Perkins, who is doing apparently amyl nitrate.
Yes, amyl nitrate.
Actually doing those. And then who knows what he's doing in the scenes where he's a peeping Tom.
No, I have a theory about that. Okay.
Yeah.
So the story is good enough for them to talk about the poppers, and they can talk about that. He's doing cocaine in that scene because the little device he has, it's not like a one hitter, but it's
like a 2 or 3 hitter.
Yeah, exactly. Because also, and he's sniffing really hard. With poppers, you just kind of go. With coke, and that's what he's doing in that scene. He is doing
that, and he's amazing in the movie.
He's amazing, and this tipped off a big Perkins obsession that I think was waiting for me, because I get, as you do, into these deep tunnels, right?
Yes.
And that's a better word than which I'll bleep, I think.
I know.
So,
and I passed my PTSD for deep dive onto you.
Yes, you have, and I appreciate that. It was starting to brew before we met, and then I was like, no, that's it. I've gotta join the club here. Perkins is doubly fascinating for his private life, because he was, I guess, bisexual, but pretty ardently homosexual in his early days. He was Tab Hunter's boyfriend, and it was pretty well known around Hollywood, but not obviously in the greater public. He was also a crooner.
Oh.
Yeah. He played some stuff. I played some of that on the Psycho 3 movie club, but I'll play some later.
I love that.
And it's quite good, and it's very similar to Tab Hunter. It's, and he's got a good voice. Well, as we know from that song near the end of the film.
Which is actually my favorite part of his performance.
Forget your troubles, come on, get happy. You better chase all your cares away. Sing hallelujah, come on, get happy. You're heading for the judgment day. The sun is shining, come on, get happy, girl. The Lord is waiting to take your hand. Shout hallelujah, come on, get happy. You're heading for the promised land.
And he's really playing the piano in that. As he does in one or two of the Psycho films.
Yeah.
He was a gifted pianist. He was almost too talented. But he was plagued by a lot of mental problems because he didn't want to be homosexual and actually went through conversion therapy.
Wow.
In the 70s by choice.
I can only imagine. Well, okay, also by choice. I can only imagine how difficult that would be for people that have to go through it now.
No, it's
unfortunately
hideous.
That still is happening.
Yeah.
But I can only imagine in the 70s, and to also give it to yourself by choice. It's just a lot going on.
Now, someone told me, and this is unverified, that Richard Benjamin and Paula Prentice helped him find the doctor. And I mean, they probably were doing it out of compassion for a friend, but still, what a weird thing. And I would never guess they would be the people. But also, back then, conversion therapy included electroshock therapy. And some people said he was never the same after that.
I mean,
I don't know how you could be.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you're electrocuted.
I know. And that's the last ditch effort for bipolar as well. Carrie Fisher was a big proponent of it because she goes, it wipes a little bit of my memory away sometimes, but like, I can live.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's how bad hers was. And as a recently diagnosed bipolar person, I'm thankful that it's not that medication is working.
That you don't have to get shock therapy.
Exactly.
I'm thankful for that as well. So thank God.
Thank you. Very thankful for that. Thank you.
But I like it because when I was kind of doing a little bit of research onto like the making of the movie, and because notoriously this film has so many versions. And I'm sure we'll start debating these versions shortly.
Yes.
But I mean, there's the theatrical version. There's an unrated version. Apparently, one of the VHS tapes has a few other minutes cut out of it. There's conflicting information. I think there's like 107, 110, 112.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of different versions floating out there. And so Ken Russell was notoriously censored by the censor board.
Yes.
But he originally took the script because it offered something new in dealing with sex and family life and the masks that we accept. And it's a film about the exploitation of women that live in a world of complex fantasy. Of women, especially at the hands of macho American men.
Yes.
Americans are asked to live in a world of complete fantasy, which they can never live up to. I think he succeeds in exactly what he wanted to do.
Yes, absolutely. Wildly so. And none more specifically than with the marriage of John Laughlin or Laughlin, I'm not sure. And
Laughlin.
Laughlin, thank you. And Annie Potts.
Oh my gosh.
Those are harrowing scenes.
Those are the real life scenes.
Yes,
where
exactly.
He's not in his fantasy world or in her fantasy world, where he's actually in his real life. But I found this one fact about Anthony Perkins for you.
Oh, please.
Did you know that he officiated Ken Russell's wedding at the wrap party?
Oh my God, that's right. I had forgotten about that.
Apparently it was a crazy wrap party, and Anthony Perkins was like, I just have to like take this course and like pay $25. Okay.
Oh my God.
And so he officiated the wedding. Ken Russell had 4 wives. This was, I think, his second wife. And then, of course, the studio did not like the movie.
Yeah, which was New World Pictures.
Yes.
Was Corman gone from New World by that time?
Yes, I think it had just switched hands.
Okay.
And that they wanted to kind of do like more artsy movies, but the studio did not like the X rating. But because they had Russell, Turner, and Perkins, they thought they could actually re-legitimize the X rating.
Right.
So they were going for the X.
Yeah.
Russell was just full on board, like, let's make this thing happen. And then, of course, New World Pictures was like, this is not happening. We're going to cut it. And then they cut more. And then they cut more. And at a certain point, Ken Russell's like, we can't cut this anymore.
Yeah.
And then he saw what else they were going to cut. And so he's like, okay, I'll do it instead. Like,
let me at
least be the one to do it. And I think De Palma said, like, this is a movie that should remain uncut because this is not just some guy making a porno in a back room. This is an artist at work, which I agree with. But I also think that there are lots of pornos out there made in back room by guys that are probably very artistic.
Treat yourself right and head on over to patreon.com/CraigandFriends. Look at the reward tiers, see which one jumps out at you that you desire the most, and then just go for it. Grab life by the suspenders and pull at patreon.com/CraigandFriends. You know what? Some of the greatest set design and lighting is in the dialogue scenes of a lot of 70s pornos.
Oh my gosh, Roger talks also all the time, because I'm not watching 70s pornos. Just full disclosure.
You like 90s pornos.
No. Just full disclosure. If I was going to watch pornos, they would probably be the 70s ones because of the lighting and all like the set design.
Yeah.
But Roger talks about them as like basically anthropological documents for furniture design.
Am I correct in that Roger has a huge collection, like a preservation archive, or am I thinking of someone else?
You might be thinking of someone else, I think.
Because there's someone, also there's a podcast called The Rialto Report that does incredible deep tunnel exploration of the characters and the major players of the porn industry.
Yeah, because they really have great architecture, design, and it's the furniture design. Because that's some of the last places that you can see these specific pieces of furniture.
Yeah, that's right.
And so it's like very important for anthropology
to
watch pornos.
Yes, it is.
Don't get rid of them.
No, don't. And also the lurid lighting is gorgeous. And I mean, the lurid lighting in Crimes of Passion is gorgeous. And also that real life horrifying scenario, the lighting is totally different.
Yes, it is. And that's one of the things I love about the movie. I'm sure we're going to talk all about the lighting because, I mean, you can see the room that we're in right now. If you've seen the movie, you know we're in Crimes of Passion right now.
We are in Crimes of Passion. It's a little more gentle than this, and we don't have the flashing on and off.
Of the Anthony Perkins, entering the room with the shadows going. But when they released Crimes of Passion, the cut theatrical version, it was a failure.
Yeah.
And then they released the uncut version on home video, and it totally rocked. It was They got $4 million.
Oh my God.
Off of the sales. It was a huge hit.
Wow.
And Ken Russell, I found this quote when I was trying to figure out what version to watch and which one I had.
Yeah.
Because like the Laserdisc, it says not rated, but it's like a different time length than the unrated version. So like I wasn't quite sure, but.
Well, also the Blu-ray, sorry to cut you off.
Oh, no.
The Blu-ray, I believe, has what's called the director's cut, which is the unrated version.
Yes.
Plus a few other little bits.
Yes. So I brought like the Arrow version, which is the Blu-ray, and then I also have that other DVD. And I think the other DVD includes those bits as special features. And the Arrow just reincorporated them in. I'm not 100% sure about that, but.
I think that's right, because when I got the Arrow, I watched just the director's cut. Oh, I'll play this for you and I'll drop it in now. Mm-hmm. There's the most Ken Russell moment ever in the commentary. So I don't know. Have you done commentaries? Because I feel like you'd be great.
I've sat on my dad doing them though, for sure.
Okay, so it's basically that's what your day is, right? You go in and so when Roger did commentary, did they do 2 passes, 1 pass? Did they pause?
I think it was just a straight pass. It's so funny. Actually, I remember that he did a commentary, I think, with Carrot Top.
Oh my God.
I know, way back. I think it was like 2002.
Yeah.
That's one of my memories is like I was sitting in on the Carrot Top. I don't know what the commentary was for. I should actually find out about that.
Please pass that on to me because Carrot Top's commentary is never, those are 3 words I never thought I'd say in the same sentence. Yeah.
He also, my dad actually is on the audio commentary for one of Kubrick's short films.
Oh, wow.
Which is really a bizarre, I think it's the commentary for his short documentary on the boat. I can't remember what it's called right now, but yeah, my dad is on there, and I was like, "Why are you on this audio comment? That's really random." But
I think it might have been Joe Dante, but it was one of the guests I think on your show, or it was Roger, who talked about getting excited to see the Laserdisc of Taxi Driver because the commentary.
Might have been my dad, yeah.
Okay, but he was like, I hated Scorsese's commentary on it. And then he discovered Scorsese's commentaries on other films. And he's like, it's the greatest resource of all time.
Wait, who was that? That might have been Joe, actually, that said that.
I think it was Joe.
Yeah.
It was Joe. Because he was talking about finally getting a Laserdisc player for that express purpose. Yeah. Oh, I saw this comment on YouTube about a Scorsese lecture. And it said, Mandarin is the fastest spoken language in the world, except for Martin Scorsese in English talking about films.
Imagine him talking in Mandarin then.
Oh my God. And imagine in his Coke days what it was like.
Oh my gosh.
Although I think with him, I don't know if he has ADHD or whatever, but I have a feeling that much like Robin Williams, he was slowed down. Because if you look at interviews on, like, there's a great Dick Cavett Show episode with Brian De Palma and Scorsese. Scorsese's clearly on allergy medication, and he is a little just kind of like fidgety and like tight-lipped, which is not how you think of him. A side note on his drug use. John Cassavetes at a party slapped him in the face and said, "You got to stop with this drug shit." He basically said, "It's turning your mind into mush, like the line in Goodfellas."
Wow,
isn't that wild?
Wow,
yeah,
that is wild. But Ken was really upset because I found this quote, and this is exactly who Ken Russell is, and this is exactly why I love Ken Russell. But the American censors complained I put too much art in the film, which is one of the things that's cut out of the.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, he has all this like erotic art that basically he like intercuts with, which I think is a fantastic tool to show sex.
Yes.
Without showing sex.
Yeah.
And a lot of it's like nanshoku, which is like Japanese gay pornography.
Mm-hmm.
But I bought a few books of erotic art from the corner bookshop. Nothing new. Most of it 100 years old and available in every school library. Aubrey Beardsley and Japanese watercolors. And I'd used some of the more famous prints in the film. The censors insisted I took it all out. You can't show art to Americans. If I'd have made a rip-roaring farce about hookers, they'd have left it alone.
Yeah.
And if I had made a sadistically violent film for children and changed my name to Steven Spielberg, they'd have left it alone. But because I had made a serious film for adults about American sexuality, they cut 12 minutes out and did what they could to damage its prospects. And they succeeded. But it went out uncut on video and went straight to #1.
And it really should have gone out uncut to cinemas because, as De Palma mentioned or alluded to, and Roger Ebert also said, it kind of destroyed the flow of the movie and took away essential elements that other pieces didn't make sense with. And before I ask about your dad's preference for the cut version, in the commentary.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So it's a holiday process. You're there to do that. That's what you're doing. That's what the few hours is about. Halfway through, Barry Sandler says, I'm sorry to say Ken Russell is no longer with us. He's still alive, of course, but he had to catch a plane to London. So the rest of this commentary is going to be just me. Oh my God. Is that not the most Ken Russell thing ever?
That is the most Ken Russell thing. Because, okay, really quickly, we have to talk about A Kitten for Hitler.
Oh, yes, we do.
Do you know what A Kitten for Hitler is?
I heard you talk about it on the show, and I'm like, I have to see this.
Okay. So I have to get the name correct of the person that challenged him. Because this, when I heard about A Kitten for Hitler, I was like, A Kitten for Hitler? Okay, this is Ken Russell.
Yeah, what must this be?
Okay, so I've seen it. So, and I actually kind of like A Kitten for Hitler because it's so audacious and it's so crazy.
Yeah.
But Ken Russell's whole goal is basically just to piss you off.
Yes.
And he does it with Crimes of Passion because they were so upset that they cut the 12 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. People
he's
were not
really
happy.
trying to push the envelope and he's trying to upset critics, upset viewers. He wants you to feel. He wants to like show you what art is. Okay. So A Kitten for Hitler was his final attempt before he died.
Okay.
To piss people off.
Yeah.
And he did piss a lot of people off with it. It was literally made to try to get canceled before his death. He wanted to be canceled.
Because he knew he was dying, maybe? Or
no, he just was like, this guy, Melvin Bragg, who's an English broadcaster for BBC Radio, and then he's also has a bunch of other accolades. But he challenged Ken Russell, make a movie that he would be eager to see banned, that even Ken Russell himself would say this is too much.
Wow.
Okay. So it's a 10-minute short film about a young Jewish boy who is played by a little person, not a child, but a little person, who wants to give Hitler a kitten to stop him from hating Jewish people.
Wow.
It is bizarre.
Yeah.
It is so strange. And I think this is exactly what Ken Russell is. He wants to piss people off and he wants to just show like, this is me. Yeah. I'm doing this, and it's wild. You can find it online.
Okay,
It's 10 minutes long, and
I have to look for it.
It's almost as weird as Tiptoes. I don't know if you've seen Tiptoes.
I heard you mention on the show, and then isn't it the same?
It's the same director as, oh God, what is it?
Something else that Roger mentioned that was disturbing. Something.
Okay, well, it's a Little Red Riding Hood story, and the girl from Legally Blonde is in it.
Oh, okay. Wow.
What's
Reese
her
Witherspoon?
name? Reese Witherspoon's. What is the other movie? Oh, that I can't remember.
Freeway?
Now. Yeah, it's Freeway. It's the same director as Freeway.
Oh, wow. Okay.
What's his name? It's not Matthew Bright. I feel like it's Matthew Bright.
I can
feel
look
like
it
that's
up.
Incorrect.
I can look it
No,
up.
it's okay.
No, okay.
No, it's okay.
Yeah.
If my brain doesn't work, I'm not going to use the algorithm to fix my brain.
No, exactly. And I'm using the phones to shoot this, so I can't just quickly look it up. So,
but Tiptoes is so wild because it's Gary Oldman playing a little person, but on his knees.
oh my God. Okay.
So it's almost as weird as A Kitten for Hitler, where a adult is playing a child.
Although nothing's as weird as Clifford. Have you ever seen Clifford?
I've heard of Clifford.
It's a must-watch. It
Okay.
is. When I worked at a video store, I used to play that all the time, and I would play It's Pat too, which, by the way, wildly offensive film.
Yeah.
But I would also play Phantom of the Paradise.
Isn't it funny? All of these movies that used to be like, quote, offensive,
Yeah.
that really don't, like, when I was watching Crimes of Passion, like, yeah, okay, it is, there's a lot of sex in it.
There is a lot of sex. Yeah.
But it's not as offensive nowadays because you can just see this kind of stuff on TV.
Yes.
And like you're watching it as a teenager and you can go on the internet and you can just look up anything and there's a lot of bad stuff on there.
Yeah.
I mean, like The Loved One, the whole tagline was the movie to offend everyone.
Right.
And
which does it? Do you think it does? Because I watched half of it and I really loved it and I want to watch the rest. But it was mood wise, there was something going on, and it might have been early in the days of Lamactyl. And there was something mood-wise about the funereal aspect that I couldn't continue with.
Yeah, well, I guess it offended you.
I guess it offended me.
I guess it succeeded.
Yeah.
I mean, the first time I saw that movie, I could not understand what they were saying, like the British people.
Yes.
I was so confused. I actually had to turn it off. And I don't even know if I liked it the second time I watched it. Third and fourth time I watched it, I really enjoyed myself. It took a while.
And there's something that I still haven't listened to on the show because I still am very religious about not listening to the bits that I have of movies I haven't seen, except a few exceptions.
Yeah.
Oh, and Coma, because we had just had our child, and previously there were some complications and stuff. Everything was fine.
Oh yeah, thank God.
No, and of course, how does Coma start out? Someone's getting an abortion. Oh, okay, wait.
Lois Childs is getting an abortion.
That's right. Thank you.
My girl Lois.
She's in another Video Archives feature,
Yeah,
right?
I can't really remember what that one's called. Oh yeah, Moonraker.
Oh my God, that's right. She's in Moonraker. That's right. And as we were talking about earlier, a lot of comedies that were just like he said, if you made this romp about hookers, like Bachelor Party.
Yeah.
Which I love Bachelor Party, but tonally, no, people would be out of their mind over it right now.
Well, even like Animal House and stuff.
Oh, Animal House is
it's wild, but it's interesting, like what really affected people back then, like what really affects people back now. It's kind of like reversing. It's like directors were really trying to push the envelope in different ways, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And now I feel like a film like Tar is really challenging in a way. Like every published opinion about it has some different take on it. Some people like it, some people hated it. And that's a movie I like, not just a movie I like, but that's the kind of reaction that makes me want to see a movie if there's wildly divergent opinions on it. I don't like a uniform. Ambivalence or uniform. Oh, it was really nice. Like, fine.
If everyone just agrees. Yeah, and also I like it when I really like a movie and then someone's like, I hated it.
I know.
And it's like, okay, why?
I know.
I'm dying to know.
Same here.
Because if you hate it, at least you feel something about it.
Yes, passionately.
Yeah.
Now, let's get into... Because I think we gave enough of the plot for sure.
Yeah, I think and enough of the plot and the making of and all of that.
All that, and also, if you haven't seen the movie and you're still listening, you're in for the ride. So, much like I am when I listen to the Video Archives episodes and I haven't seen the films. So, your opinion of the film is different than mine, and I want to hear.
Yeah. Okay.
What
Well,
that
first
is.
off, you said that you've only seen the unrated version.
Yes.
Okay, and that's because here's the big debate: which version would you recommend to someone to watch?
But see, the thing is, I always tell my rule is just watch the unrated director's cut.
Really, that's your rule for everything? Because my rule is the exact opposite.
Really,
mine is always watch theatrical first.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because that's the way audiences saw it first.
That makes a lot of sense, but okay, well,
even with this though, I'm gonna recommend the theatrical version.
All right, I'm gonna watch it.
I know, but I'm not gonna recommend the uncut version.
Really?
Unless you're really into like learning about Ken Russell and like learning about the filmmaking process. For me, it goes a little too far.
Okay.
I know, which is shocking.
Wow.
Which is shocking.
There's some movies that you said you like that are like wild and out of control.
It's not because it goes too far, but because the things that I love about Ken Russell are the paper mache penis in Lisztomania.
Yes. Okay.
And when he uses these allegories and like these giant cartoonish like features to show sex.
Yes.
And in Crimes of Passion, there's a lot of, in the uncut version.
Yeah.
Uncut version, as the South Park they would say. The super long uncut version.
It's bigger, longer, and uncut. Yeah.
It's too much like actual sex.
Okay.
And
did they cut out the scene that is the silhouette sex?
It's just cut down.
Okay, because that's when I find
the cop scene's cut when she pulls the cop in.
Okay, now the fake sexual assault scene, is that left in or is that taken out?
I think that's left in.
Interesting that would be cut out, and the cop scene.
I'm not sure, but the cop...
wait, I'm sorry. The cop scene,
where he has the baton where the sun don't shine.
That I actually went, oh my god, which I live for.
Yeah.
If that can do that to me, I was like, oh my god.
I mean, they've cut out a lot of the erotic art, which in the interstitials, which I don't think should have been the thing that was cut.
No, I agree with you.
It's like the actual physical sex acts. That's what I think could have been trimmed a little bit, because I think that if you trimmed it a little bit, it actually makes it more sexy and like more, but that's not his goal. Let's be honest. That's not Ken Russell's goal. And so I acknowledge that completely.
And the goal is achieved in spades with the cop scene.
Yes.
So basically, folks, maybe you've seen it, maybe you haven't. And I'll try to stop giving those provisos. But she is conflicted about a few things. And she really is taking her anger out on this cop who wants to be restrained. And clearly the baton, his nightstick, is being used as part of the sex play for a reason. But when she is pegging or buggering him with it, she goes like wild,
like animalistic. They are like animals.
Yes, and he is restrained, so there's not much he can do about it. And he sort of bought the ticket for that ride.
Yeah,
but he is very unhappy and spits in her face afterwards.
I mean, his hand is bleeding from the handcuff.
Yes, that's right.
And he spits in her face, and her reaction to that, where she is crying, or not crying, but like really upset, almost on the verge of tears.
Yeah,
and washing her face.
Yeah,
it's a really personal moment.
It is. It's very intense, because also China Blue, basically, she wants to prevent feeling anything.
Yeah.
But she wants the sex as well, and also being these other people. It's not exactly clear what her motivation is, although it is sexual gratification, and it is, I guess, being the subject of objectification, which can be fun. Mm-hmm. But the subtle thing about her different characters for each person, I didn't think I caught it the first time, but I was like, oh, she's putting on the fantasy for the guy. But when she does it to Anthony Perkins,
with the nun, when she's wearing the nun outfit.
Oh, before that, when she's like, oh, my faith has been blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And he's like, because he's like, I know you, I know who you are, and in a way, when he says,
why are you here?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yes, exactly. And she does the turnaround on him, and he's believing it because there is a notion that people want to be fooled.
Yeah.
And she's just giving him what he wants, because that is what he wants. He wants to believe that he's going to rescue her somehow.
Yeah.
Because by rescuing her, he's rescuing himself, because he says to her, I'll be back. I am you. You or me, or something like that.
I love his dialogue that Sandler gave to him. He always has the best dialogue in the movie. And the scenes between him and Turner are the best scenes.
Kathleen Turner from Body Heat plays the hooker, and one night while working her beat, she attracts a creepy character played by who else? Speaking of psycho, Anthony Perkins, who overacts in this film more than is required by this outlandish script. And my review of this film is pretty simple. Take the Anthony Perkins character out of this movie, and I think it works. It's really the story of the emotional awakening of an uptight character, that young man we just saw, played by John Lawson. And watching a character change as much as he does in a film is always fascinating. And the Kathleen Turner character is, for all of her apparent freedom when she's a hooker, as you can see, she's really quite a little bit sad. And she changes too during the course of this movie. You'd like to see these two people settle down with each other. That second scene works. But almost every time they get started, In walks Anthony Perkins to wreck this movie, playing a caricature of his role in Psycho, which was obviously quite weird to begin with. He really goes over the top this time. Now, when we see Kathleen Turner or Joe Laughlin, we see characters. When we see Anthony Perkins in Crime and Passion, we see Anthony Perkins, who reminds us, sadly, that we're watching a movie. So, a mixed review for me from Crimes and Passion. I take it you didn't like Perkins either.
I didn't. No.
The guy, the young man, Joe Laughlin, that's an interesting character.
That's an interesting character. He seemed to have wandered in from another movie next door that would have been a more interesting movie.
And I'm like, Gene,
that's really the performance he's going to pull out. I'm sorry, that one.
That is the one, not John Laughlin.
I'm sorry, but John Laughlin, I can't stand the performance, and I also don't like the character.
See, the thing is, I don't like the character either, and I think that adds to the overall effect. Where at a certain point you feel a fondness, or I felt a fondness for, or sympathy, or a sadness for him, because he is locked in this marriage that is nightmarish. And actually, one of the things I love the most about the movie is it shows that while China Blue is a prostitute, essentially in the Western mindset, maybe otherwise too, Eastern, I don't know.
Yeah.
But Western mindset that the prostitute is the lowest thing you could be, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's sex for money. How disgusting. What is Annie Potts' character? She's married with the expectation that they will keep up with the Joneses, that they will get a jacuzzi because the neighbors have it. And everything is because the neighbors have it. Now, they're having some financial struggles, but you're not sure if they're imagined, if like nothing is ever good enough for Annie Potts. And there is no sexual activity between the two of them, despite Laughlin's attempts. He's trying to be sweet to her and get, like, she's on a diet, so he brings a Whitman sampler that's all the chocolates have been removed and it's all like celery.
It's like celery and carrots and radishes.
Yeah, and that takes a little bit of time to do.
What a little rabbit eats.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And Annie Potts is just miserable. And also the kids they're detached from the kids, or she is. She's detached from the kids.
Well, she's depressed.
She's depressed, but to me, it's like she's depressed at the end result that she's engineered. Like, no. And how about this? That society has engineered is more to the point. She's not happy in this construct. And in some deleted scenes, there's something where she's maybe like considering being with someone else or something, because her friend, Bruce Davidson's wife, has left him and then has come back. But Davidson's character has basically had to beg and now become like an underling to her. So I think the movie says so much about heteronormativity that I feel like, I don't know what I was going to say, that maybe wasn't seen at the time or something. But to me, it's saying like this construct is false and dangerous, whereas China Blue is honest about her not habits, but what she does. Now, also China Blue has her problems in that she has no vulnerability until later. But the both of them, China Blue and Laughlin's character, I don't know why I can't remember the character's name. It's probably like Buddy or something like that. They both break out of their respective worlds to embrace the unknown because they feel passion. And China Blue's not feeling passion. She's taking Quaaludes, which I didn't know were still available in 1984.
I know, I was laughing about that. Hey, want a Quaalude?
I know, that was great.
Take a lude.
Yeah, take a lude. By the way, that's the one drug the government they managed to expunge. There's a lot of other problematic ones out there. Could we please have Quaaludes back, please? I always wanted to try one. If I could get my hands on one.
They're horse tranks, right?
No, I don't think so. I could be wrong about that. But the reason everyone got upset, obviously some people developed addictions, but they were like the sex drug.
Oh, yeah.
Because people get real horny, but it doesn't affect sexual activity. And so people had problems with that. Also, if people had too much booze with them, it is technically a downer, so you could check out for good. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts on that in terms of...
I think I have a little bit of a different reading of Crimes of Passion because when I've seen the movie before, and then I watched it again last night, and I was like, And I watched the uncut version last night. And I really like all the art that's in it. Yeah,
the art is really great. It's also jarring in a way because you're not expecting cutaways to just drawings.
It's just like penises.
Yes, exactly.
Of giant penises.
Yes, giant. Which also China Blue has a collection of art.
Yeah,
that shows
that is like those giant penises.
Yes, exactly.
I was watching it and I started thinking, okay, I'm reading this about Ken Russell that he's taken the project because it shows the fantasy that American women have to live up to.
Yes.
Okay, whose fantasy is this movie showing, Craig? Is it showing China Blue's fantasy? Or is it showing Laughlin's fantasy?
I think it's showing Annie Potts' fantasy.
Really? Okay, now that's interesting because I think it's showing Laughlin's fantasy.
Okay.
And I'm going back and forth on this. It's like a new idea. It's percolating.
No, I like this. I like this.
But,
and I'm wondering, too, if I'm being misogynistic.
No. I don't think you are. I think your reading is completely... Like, even our readings can, like, coexist. They can be sisters.
Yes, exactly. I like that.
But when I look at the movie, we talk about the lighting. There's all this red and blue. And whenever she is China blue, which China blue is something that is so pure. Actually, that's like what a China blue color is.
Oh, okay.
Is that it's a pure color.
Yeah.
And so she's taken the name China blue because it's like the purest blue that you can be.
And she's a fashion designer and art enthusiast, so
yes.
she would know that.
She would know that. And she's taken this, and I also I see this like a little bit as like Red Riding Hood, but instead of Red Riding Hood, she's China blue. And
right.
Anthony Perkins is the big bad wolf. Laughlin is the woodcutter.
Okay,
it's like you have all these kind of figures in this storybook world that Ken Russell and Sandler have created.
Yeah.
And when she becomes China blue, everything is in these like red and blue neons.
Mm-hmm.
And then Perkins is represented by the flashing shadows,
yes.
the darkness,
yes.
the slits in the wall, the peepholes, etc. And
which I sorry to interrupt, but I just realized that is a callback to Psycho.
Yes.
Because I only saw Psycho for the first time in recent months.
And
so
same here, actually.
Oh, I'm very happy to hear that because everyone else would go, "You haven't seen Psycho?" And I said, "Well, it was in the aid of seeing Psycho 3."
Yes.
So yeah.
But and then Laughlin's character though is represented by, I don't want to say the white light because it's more like just the yellow real light
bland.
Of a room. It's the bland, it's just a well-lit room. And you can see this creeping in on like every scene that he's in.
Yeah.
He's in white light.
Yeah.
And even when he's with his wife in his house, there's the shot where, and I think after he gives her that box of the everything and he sits down to eat dinner, she moves into the living room and they're divided in frame by the door frame.
Yeah.
He's in the white light. She's in the pink light.
Oh, wow.
Even though it's not as pink as China Blue's light, it's still the pink light. And so he's still divided because even though she's not China Blue and he hasn't met China Blue yet, she's still a female fantasy.
Okay.
She fulfills a certain role of the pure wife.
And I can so see that with him trying to act like everything's fine because the movie opens with a group therapy scene that Davison's character has brought him to because he realizes that his friend is either
like something's wrong.
Something's really wrong and this guy is not even aware of it. Yeah. And he's not aware of it possibly because of this fantasy that he's in. And the fantasy, I think that both he and Annie Potts suffer from this portrait of this family that they're supposed to be and the friends that they're supposed to maintain. The friend group is horrifying.
It is horrible. And the other scenes that he's in, like that he's just like, it's the scene where he gets the job basically to go follow China Blue's character as I forget, she's a spy. And then the other one is the barbecue, which I hate the barbecue scene. The barbecue scene is my least favorite scene in the movie.
Why?
Well, besides the fact that his friends are just terrible.
Yes.
I hate the rising penis, the erecting penis moment. I actually have it written down of what I can't remember what it's called exactly.
Well, it's like he's got like this
ode to 2001.
Yes, I totally understand hating it. I loved it because it showed how gross
the human penis is what they call it.
That's right. He was the human penis, and his mouth full of milk or something.
Yeah.
And he has these fake balls attached, and he's like, "I'm gonna do the number. I'm gonna do the number." And
like a frat boy.
Totally like a frat boy. They're all drinking Budweiser. And Davison's wife is being very unpleasant to him that whole time.
Well, I mean, I'm going to be honest. If that was my husband and we were at the barbecue, I'd be very unpleasant to him too right then.
Look, I'm with you on that one, 100%. But I also thought it showed the arrested development of these people, particularly Laughlin's character, because he thinks this is the big funny thing. And also...
It's a disconnect.
It's a disconnect. And in this closed circle friend group, this vacuum... They're just they go through the motions. Mm-hmm. There's no variance in their lives. And it's horribly unfulfilling for Annie Potts. And I think also for Laughlin, who doesn't want to admit it because he wants to be the good guy.
Yeah. And that's the thing is that he wants to be the good guy and he wants to be the lifesaver.
Yes.
Notice all the use of lifesavers throughout the movie.
Wow.
He hides them on his person when his children play with him.
Oh my God, that's right.
He eats them in the car. The gift of his jersey to him is in a lifesaver box with lifesaver wrapping
Oh my God,
paper.
that's so brilliant. That's such a
But
brilliant
he actually shuts
observation.
the lid on that and returns it
Yeah.
to his wife. But the other scene where he's in, where it has the white light, is the scene where he and his wife are in bed after the barbecue. And that scene's interesting because what does it have but the shadows? Anthony Perkins' shadows, basically flickering on them as they realize that their lives are crumbling apart.
Yeah.
Now, I thought about it. Is China Blue real? Of course, I have to throw out a wild Gala-ism.
No, I love
to bring
that,
it up.
though. I love
Is China
that.
Blue real, or is she someone that he has completely made up in his mind to fulfill his fantasy of what like the perfect sexual partner is?
That's a really good question, but I think she is mainly because of the device of her being followed.
Yes.
Because, and also that, which reminds me of that brilliant 3 shot when he's outside her window spying on her.
Oh my God, yeah.
Right? And Perkins has been spying on her, and she's right in the center, and the lighting's even different on him. And Perkins is in like the darkness, and she's in the middle.
Yeah, and she's in the middle. He uses a lot of that like divided frame, which is really, really good filmmaking.
Yeah,
but
brilliant.
There are some scenes I do, because this movie, to me, I think it's low Ken Russell. But even
Really?
low Ken Russell is still good Ken Russell.
Okay, yeah.
Even $1 Billion Brain is still a good Ken Russell.
I have to see that one.
No, you don't. It's if you like Ken Russell, you got to see it. But it's actually like his most tame film. It's like I think really before he was pushing the envelope.
Yeah, before I think he was allowed to. Maybe
if I watched it again, I would see. Now that I've seen this many Ken Russell movies, maybe I would see and appreciate and understand it better. But definitely a very tame movie in comparison. But I think even low Ken Russell is good Ken Russell.
Oh, absolutely.
So this one, there are a few scenes that I really like. The first one, I actually do like the scene where she's being chased by the John that's like aggressing upon her with the fantasy.
Yeah.
I think it's like an interesting scene because you think it's like Anthony Perkins that's chasing her.
Right.
But really she's just fulfilling this fantasy of this guy. And then he's very pleasant to her afterwards. Oh, very kind and polite.
Super pleasant, but there's an element of that scene which is creepier than the actual chase.
Yes.
When she... so basically, it's a sexual assault fantasy. And afterwards, the guy is like, he's getting off on the fact that China Blue had told him previously that she had been molested.
Yes.
And she's forgotten that.
Because she's probably, maybe it's a lie, maybe it's a truth. Who knows? It's China Blue.
I think it's a lie.
I think it's a lie. I think she's lying to all of these guys. She's just being their fantasy.
She's being their fantasy. And because for a moment, she's like, huh, what's that? Oh, no, of course. Yeah, no, he did do that. And he's like, you told me about that. And he's like, and she's like, oh, I forgot I told you. But she's lying and trying to get him out.
You said you trusted me.
That's right. You said you trusted me. And also, almost all of these guys, after their transaction, are like, oh, you're the one for me. I'll leave my wife for you. Basically, the movie is a repudiation of men.
Well, it's like Lachlan says that to her. And I was just like, this guy is the same as all the others. It's like, that character really grinds my gears.
Yeah.
The second scene that I really, really like is the scene, of course, they're all with Kathleen Turner.
Of course, who took a big risk by making this movie against the advice of all of her agents, managers, everyone. But she's like, no, this is brilliant. And she did it right after Romancing the Stone.
Mm-hmm.
And my favorite fact about why she was cast, they showed Ken Russell Body Heat, another film I have to see, co-starring the Altered State star William Hurt.
Yeah.
And it didn't do much for him. He was not sold. Then they showed him The Man with Two Brains.
Oh, and then he was like, I'm in.
I gotta have her. She is better than Steve Martin in that movie.
She's great in like Peggy Sue Got Married.
Oh my God, I love
She's
that.
the best part in Peggy Sue Got Married. Even though I don't like how that movie ends personally, like with... I'm not going to go into it because maybe someone hasn't seen it and they should watch it.
I forget how it ends. No, I think I know.
Yeah, but I don't really like that. And then of course, in like 2 years, she becomes Jessica Rabbit.
I forgot that.
What was I going to say? I was going to say Baba Booey. It's like,
I love that you said Baba Booey on the show. I love that you said Baba Booey. I'm a huge Howard Stern fan.
I'm just like I'm at a loss for words. I think Jessica Rabbit's like one of the hottest things ever. And to have Kathleen Turner be the voice of Jessica Rabbit is
incredible.
Like my jaw is like going to roll on the floor and like go out the door.
Yeah.
But I love the scene where she gets picked up by the woman And she's like, please, my husband, he's sick.
Yeah.
I need you to make him feel like a man again. I can't touch him ever since he got sick. I need you to make him feel like a man again. And Kathleen Turner goes, and she goes up to the room and she sees him, and the guy kind of apologizes, like, I'm not really like able to like perform. And she's like, no, it's okay. I'm going to make it good for you tonight. And she takes him over to the bed. He really can't walk. Maybe he has cancer or something. I'm not sure, but he's really sick. Like he's dying. And she starts like kind of begging him and like trying to fulfill a fantasy. And it's not, he says, please stop.
Yeah.
And then she puts her leg up and she's like, Fraulein, like, I'm going to like whip you into shape. And he's like, come on.
Yeah, this is not
stop.
working.
This is not working. No, just stop. Like, and he starts to weep. And instead she just sits down next to him and holds him as he weeps, because that's really his fantasy, is just to have a woman to hold him.
God, that's so right.
And to be able just to be held and be vulnerable, emotionally vulnerable in front of a woman.
Yeah.
But what she does next is what I love, is that she takes off her wig.
Yes, and tells
him her real name.
It is such a beautiful moment.
And then she gets up and she walks to the door and she leaves the money.
Yes.
Because she's not going to like accept money for that fantasy, because like that's like, it's a given. And I love that moment because I love that he's fulfilling his fantasy of being emotionally vulnerable.
Yeah.
I think that's wonderful because obviously like women have fantasies of all kind.
Yeah.
And men do too.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not just like the sexual, like, let's have a romp and like, let me sexually assault you
Yeah.
and like, let me be a cop and like
Yeah.
get my nightstick up my butt.
Yeah. Or like screw Miss America.
Yeah. It's not all, or the flight attendant or
yes, the flight attendant was a great
or the
bit of
nun,
business.
etc.
Yeah.
Like some men just really need to be emotionally vulnerable and need to be allowed to be like that. I love that she takes her wig off, but I don't know if it's because she's doing it or because I'm a huge Star Trek fan. Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Loxana Troy, played by Majel Barrett, who Gene Roddenberry's wife.
Oh, okay.
Plays Deanna Troy's mom. She's always wearing these colorful wigs, and in this one episode, she gets stuck in an elevator when a power outage happens with like this shapeshifter, and he can't hold his shape anymore, and he's really nervous for anyone to see him like this, and he's never shown anyone. And she takes off her wig and she's like, and this is me. And I love that. And so to have like the connection of vulnerability for like the show that I love, of like taking off your wig and saying, here's who I truly am.
Yeah.
It's just such a wonderful gift.
It is the wig reveal moment. I'm trying to think of another example. But that's a great thing when people take away the artifice and then it's like, here I am, this is me.
Yeah. We're both being emotional. It might be the first time in the entire, or the only time in the entire movie that she's emotionally vulnerable.
It is. And then she has a strong, when she falls for Laughlin and they do spend the night together. And then he sort of mistakenly, you know what? He's lured back to Annie Potts' character because of guilt about the kid's birthday or something.
Do you see Annie Potts as like a villain in this kind of?
I do.
Because man, I just disagree with that.
Really?
I think this guy's a jerk.
See, I think he is. I don't think he's a jerk. He's not my kind of guy.
Yeah.
You know, at
not
all.
mine either. I think we can agree on that one.
We can definitely agree on that. But he protects her, first off, by not telling the employer that she's a prostitute by night. So he's essentially, in quotes, a good guy in that regard. He's trying to make it work with Annie Potts. And he's, between the two of them, the only one engaged with the kids. Annie Potts is pissed off at the kids, and the kids are just basically being raised by TV.
Yeah.
And on the TV, they're watching...
Oh my God, this amazing commercial.
Yeah, incredible. For Rick Wakeman's... what's it? The Happy Life?
It's Happy Life.
Yeah,
Da, da, da,
being
da.
shrieked by Maggie Bell
Oh
over,
my God.
which is like deliberately jarring. And the video that they're watching, it's a depiction of
the happy life with the bride and groom and the little girl and the doves and the silverware set that you get when you get married.
And then the silverware set becomes like the focus of life, which to me is materialism and like reflective of Annie Potts talking about the jacuzzi and this and that.
Well, it's so great because when he's like on Annie Potts' lap, basically trying to like initiate what he imagines is intimacy, like he needs sex from her.
Yeah.
She says, honey, but we just got the cable package.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, that's all that needs to be said. It's like that she's worried, like we just got the cable package, we just paid for it, we got to use it.
No, exactly. It all and that and the video make it seem, or to me, get the message across that things just become about money,
Mm-hmm.
and that marriage is not a false precept, but it can be a trap.
Yeah.
But everyone's celebratory about it. It's a big deal, and the focus of many people's lives is just getting married.
Yeah.
And they think that is going to make their life happy, or it'll paper up the cracks or whatever. So even if Annie Potts isn't the villain, she has fallen prey to this misbegotten notion.
She's definitely fallen prey to something, because he even tells Kathleen Turner, the first time I had sex with my wife, I can't remember if he says that she cries, but she asked me, do you still respect me?
That's right.
And so it's
Yeah.
like she feels deep shame from showing her body like this, whereas Kathleen Turner does not feel shame from that, but feels shame in the emotional vulnerability. So it's like he's getting from Annie Potts, she's trying to be open and she's trying to talk about things and be emotionally vulnerable with him, which he's declining.
Yeah.
And then with China Blue, it's like he's getting that sexual energy, but she's declining him with the emotional vulnerability up to a point.
Up to a point, she does reveal some, but then when he goes back...
But is it a lie? She's so good at lying.
I don't think so, though, because I think because she gets so upset when he goes back to have dinner. Mm-hmm. And that's another... Okay, if I think of her as the villain, this is more fuel for that fire. He's now interested in someone else.
But he was interested in someone else, but like while he was married, he was cheating on his wife, and then they have that conversation in his like little electronic shop where he completely gaslights her.
What is? Oh wait, what is he?
That's in the uncut version. I don't know. That might be trimmed a little bit in the theatrical version. I'm not sure.
But I've only seen
you've
the
only
uncut.
seen it. It's when Annie Potts comes back. So they're finally separated. But he was with China Blue.
Yes.
Before their separation.
Yes.
I have to make that clear. I
That's very true.
I don't condone his behavior as a character.
I agree. Look, it's a misstep. Certainly.
It's a misstep on his part.
Yeah.
But so he's been with China Blue. He and his wife have that barbecue.
Yeah.
She reveals to him, sex was never just that important to me.
Right.
Like, there are other things that are important to her. And he's always known that. But they stayed together because I guess it's what was expected of them. And then they did it. Okay. So then he's off with Kathleen Turner having a rousing good time.
Yes.
And then Kathleen Turner's kind of like upset because his wife shows back up at the electronics store that he and Davison own together. I think they own it. I'm not sure. They work there or something.
Well, I took it as Davison was just hanging out with him, and it's his family business, and maybe the family business isn't doing so well.
Yeah, it's definitely not doing well.
Yeah.
But it's like a security tech business kind of, because he's going to install another security system and
that's why he ends up taking the private detective work, which he alludes to having done before.
Yes.
But he's on hard times now, so now that's why he's doing it.
So he'll do it again.
Yeah.
But she shows up basically to say, I want you back. Come back to the house. It's lonely in the big bed. I don't feel safe. Like, I need you there. And he basically like turns it around on her somehow, that it's like her fault that they've like broken up, because then she's like, oh, you've met someone, like I can tell, I can smell it on you. Okay, but then he somehow just turns it around, not like, oh, I cheated on you and then like I found my way out.
Yeah.
But like it's all your fault as to why I left.
I can see that, but I
just dislike it.
I also read it as, now I also had I think our things are also informed by our own past relationships, right?
Probably.
And I had someone who there was bed death and then emotional absence, right?
Yes.
And so I was doing a lot of the emotional labor, if not all.
Yeah. And Lachlan is doing the emotional labor in this.
See, and that's the thing. And I think that's what almost burns him out more than the rest of it, because his affection is reciprocated with China Blue. And even their first sex scene, which I think is such an incredible visual
with Perkins watching through the peephole. And when they reveal Perkins watching through the peephole, until like they wait until the sex scene is done.
Yes. And you have no idea. You think you're just enjoying this very beautifully, artfully shot scene where you can see a lot of positions which incidentally, Turner suggested most of the poses that are in that scene.
Did she suggest the toe sucking?
I don't know. That's a very interesting part.
That is the part that I was like, okay, that's like a little bit too far. That's a little bit too far. I don't need to see her sucking on it.
But that plus the Rick Wakeman part of the score,
gorgeous.
The score is incredible, and it's so like incredibly charged and like amped up. Also, and I love, of course, when a theme is restated, like when he goes to his car and it's like bing, ding, ding, ding. And then the way it is when it's like full tilt boogie with that. Also because we're seeing it through a screen. We don't see it, like see the sex.
Yeah, that's like a nice sex scene, but if it was just trimmed just a little bit,
okay,
just a little,
sure,
just a tiny bit, just a tiny bit.
See, I like it as I like it
you
as
like it as
lurid
long as possible.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
I mean, I'm watching with my dad, so maybe that's also coloring my.
Okay, listen, Reservoir Dogs. The first time I saw it, I'd read about it and everything, but it didn't play the local theater, so I was really excited to see it. And I've always watched every kind of movie with my folks, unless there was heavy sexual content, in which I would just go, see you guys later. Because I was like, I can't enjoy this. I'm too uptight about this. Is weird. And with Reservoir Dogs, the first 5 minutes is talking about how Madonna is singing about sucking big dicks.
Yeah.
And I just went, you guys, because I was like, I really want to watch this movie. I was like, you guys enjoy the movie. I'm going to watch it later. Because I didn't know if the movie was going to continue in that vein.
Yeah.
It does not.
It's so funny, though, because like, the first time I saw Russ Meyer's Vixen was with Quentin and Roger. And I'm just watching and we're like, oh yeah, this is really great. Isn't this great? We're all watching this movie together. I'm like, yeah, this is awesome. And then I don't know if you've seen 444 by Abel Ferrara.
No, but if it's an Abel Ferrara film, I can imagine.
Okay, so I watched that at the premiere. I think we were in Deauville. And oh my God, I think she might be his wife now, but his girlfriend at the time, Shannon, she might have been his wife back then too. She stars in the movie, and then Willem Dafoe plays the guy, and it's like apparently the world is going to end at 4:44, and so it's like this like last day on Earth. Okay, so the movie opens. I don't know if it's this long, but I was like maybe 15. The movie opens with like a 15 to 20 minute sex scene between Shannon and Willem Dafoe. And I'm sitting with my dad on one side and then Shannon on the other.
Oh, wow.
And she's holding my hand as she's like watching herself on the screen. And I'm thinking like, oh my God, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
Like, I need to go. I need to avert my eyes. It's the only time I've really ever been uncomfortable watching something with someone else.
Yeah.
Other times I don't mind. I watch all sorts of things with all sorts of people, but
yeah, I did like on the show when you said with my nights with
yeah, Susan, Sandra, Olga, Julie.
You were like, oh my God, I got to watch a sex film for this thing. But you were telling me, and we were saving the story for the show.
Oh yeah.
You first saw Crimes of Passion because Roger showed it to you?
Yes, because my dad loved Crimes of Passion. Like he loved it. He thought it was like the best Ken Russell movie. And he and I were going through a bunch of the Ken Russell movies. Like we went, obviously I saw Altered States. And then my dad will be very open with this. He really hates Mank, the new movie Mank. So we had to wash our eyes with Valentino by Ken Russell, which succeeded beautifully.
I need to see that one
Valentino, it's gorgeous. It's great. And then we watched The Boyfriend, which is like, you need to also watch it because the color in that movie is spectacular. But like we went through them and then he's like, okay, we're going to watch Crimes of Passion. And we sit down and we watch it. And I think we watched the uncut version.
Okay.
Because I had seen, I thought we had watched the theatrical because typically I watched the theatrical version. And my dad was like, the theatrical version is better. He said, it's better when it's less. It's better.
Wow.
And
okay.
I thought I had watched the theatrical version with him, but then when we turned it on, I had seen the cop scene before. So I'm like, okay, that's definitely not in the theatrical version.
No, it's not.
It's definitely not. So I think I'm like a theatrical version kind of girl.
Now that you say that, I think I may have seen the theatrical version years and years ago. And I remembered seeing the blue and the red cassette, but I don't know. But I had no memory of that cop scene with the nightstick, and I would have remembered that.
Yeah, so I think you must have seen that theatrical version.
I did, and I enjoyed the uncut version more. Also, watching it at the stage in life that I'm at now.
Yeah.
I mean, I loved it then. I thought it was great. But like one of my favorite films is On the Wall, Body Double. I saw very young, let's say 3rd or 4th grade.
Yeah.
And I was obsessed with it then. I loved it. I still love it. And also positive depictions of sex workers, which essentially is what the depiction of China Blue is.
Yeah.
And then, which you'll see, I don't want to spoil it, but Horror is much like that as well.
And that has a Teresa Russell in it, right?
Oh, I love Teresa Russell, who's also fantastic in Black Widow.
Who's also in one of the Aria shorts.
Oh, she is?
She's in the very, very first one, yeah.
She had a great, like, the arc of being in, like, some lurid... She's the star, I think, of Roger Vadim's version of And God Created Women.
I'm not sure. I'm unclear.
It's trashy, great HBO nudity kind of movie.
Great.
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Right up our alleys.
Exactly. It really is. And I can imagine Teresa Russell playing this part, actually. But she's in another Ken movie. Oh no, she's in horror. Right. Although horror has a different, you'll see. Yeah. Different take on the subject. But there's a great interview with him about it, and it sort of supports his feeling about China Blue, even though it's for horror. It's along the same lines.
Yeah.
But so Laughlin,
the thing is, it's like he.
Oh wait, I'm sorry. So your dad showed you the film, and then how? Was it uncomfortable at all watching it with Roger? No. Okay.
He and I watched all sorts of stuff together.
Yeah. Right.
Like I can't think of there being like a movie that I've been uncomfortable watching with him. To be honest.
Which I think is a great thing too, because also one of the gifts that you've gotten and that I had from my parents' approach to film, which was if Craig can understand it, he's allowed to watch it.
Yeah.
That our film sophistication and rather our enjoyment of it, not to just be self-aggrandizing, but our ability to enjoy, and I think as Roger said in one of the episodes, being able to read a film, it provides so much more satisfaction than just like, oh, I'm watching a movie and maybe I'll be on my phone and all of that stuff.
I think also my dad would have rather me asked him about what was going on in the movie than try to figure it out on my own or go on the internet and like see what other people had to say about something. If I'm like really struggling with like a concept or a theme, that I'd be able to ask him, hey dad, what's going on with that cop scene in Crimes of Passion? Or like, what is his motivation here, etc. Because my dad would always just frankly speak to me about like exactly how he feels about the movie and like how he was able to read it, which has informed me a lot. And of course, my dad and I don't always agree on things. Like he really, really likes Crimes of Passion. I think he likes it less now than he did back then.
Well, because I can imagine that seeing that in 1984 was like mind-blowing.
Yeah, just now what Crimes of Passion represents and like what the story it tells is different than like what it was back then. Like now it's like when we watch it, we're like looking at like the relationship of sex workers and like how it depicts that and how it depicts the family unit, etc. And back then it was like, how much sex can I show in a movie and still have it play?
And oh my God, it's Kathleen Turner and Anthony Perkins. Like
also Anthony Perkins. Okay, that scene when so after Laughlin goes to his wife's house for the kids, whatever, and she brings him the jersey and she's fixed his jersey, and then she starts trying to come on to him saying, oh, I always thought you were so hot in your jersey. And then he puts it back in the box and he decides to go be with Kathleen Turner.
Okay, that scene, by the way, before we move on from that, here's why if she's a villain.
Tell me, okay? Because I totally don't. I think he's the villain of this story.
I love this. The counterpoint. Here's why: because she only expresses interest in him when she realizes that he might be happy somewhere else,
which is terrible. Like whether or not she's the villain or she's just a thing, that is a terrible thing.
It's a horrific thing, and she's like making these overtures which aren't even that grand. They're just like, your jersey, again, locked in the glory days of high school. And there's no future there.
That is true. Maybe they are both the villains of their own thing. It's like self-sabotaging. And actually, I have a question about the ending that I was thinking about. I even asked my dad about it, and he was like, oh, that is really weird. Like, we should think about that and watch it again. And
I rewound it this last time I watched it. I had to rewind it.
And I'm curious as to what you think, but like when he returns, or you think that he's returning
to the group therapy?
No. I'm gonna go. I want to talk about the Anthony Perkins thing because I love Anthony Perkins.
No, we have to talk about Anthony Perkins.
We haven't barely talked about him, and it's like shocking because it's so funny. I always forget he's in this, and then when I watch it, I'm like, oh my God, it's Anthony Perkins, like doing crazy Anthony Perkins.
Maybe
things.
one of his. I think his best performances.
I think his best performance. Personally,
have you seen Play It As It Lays?
No, and I haven't seen Psycho 2. So I'm saying this as like I've only seen a few of his performances, but I think it's my favorite one.
Well, you saw The Fool Killer.
Yes, which he's good in, but he's not the best part of that.
Right, and it's not really a Perkins.
No, it's not really a Perkins role. It's a very stoic, silent part.
Perkins plays a closeted gay guy in Play It As It Lays, and it's Tuesday Weld and him, and it's one of the darkest movies I've ever seen, and that's saying something, because I like them dark. And it is like, when I saw it, I went, oh my God. And one sidebar, there's a movie at the New Beverly. They showed two oh God, you all mentioned it on the show, and I wish I could remember it. So it was a double feature with this 1968-69 British horror film that was it was about a guy pretending to be someone else and alluring a woman into this relationship because he was obsessed with her. He starts following her at the library. Oh my God. Okay, we'll have to come back to it because
Yeah, okay.
But the second film is this guy. A woman leaves this guy and he finds out that she had an abortion because she was going to leave him anyway. He's abusive and everything. But then he finds out that she was pregnant and had an abortion. And then she meets someone else and she's pregnant. This is like 2-3 years later. And he stalks her and he tries to get her to fall down the stairs. I saw this a week or so before going to England.
For the baby.
For the baby. And I said to the folks with me, I go, I gotta go. At first, I just went to the bathroom and stood in the bathroom. I was like, it's a movie. It's cool. And then there was the scene where she fell down the stairs and I staggered out. I was like, I gotta go. I can't.
Wow, what affecting cinema.
Yeah. I've never left a movie because of that before.
I've only left a movie. Actually, I don't even know if I left. I think I stayed. The Cosmopolis.
I've never seen that.
I walked in blind with my. I think it was like 17 or 18, and I walked in blind with my parents after lunch one day. Like, oh, it's playing at the theater. Oh, this movie. Oh, it's Cronenberg. Like, oh.
That's why I was like, wait, it sounds like I think it's one of my favorite directors.
It's Robert
guys.
Pattinson in a taxi, or in a limousine for like 90 minutes. Oh my God, that movie! I almost threw up in the parking lot afterwards.
Oh wow, I have to see this.
I don't know what about it. I can't remember anything in the movie except like he's gripping on this like plastic water bottle every now and then, and like he's just in this car and like there's like paparazzi. I don't know what it's about. I felt so sick from that movie. I went out to the parking lot. I'm like, I'm out of here. See ya.
I had to take a break during Hard Candy when I saw it in the theater because of the strobing stuff. It really
that affects me for sure.
And then someone went, "Oh no, it's just because she's going to castrate him." I said, "No, it's not. It's because of the strobing." Okay,
yeah.
Like that was horrifying, but that's not the reason.
Yeah, the strobing really is affecting on my eyes. So when movies have strobing, I either get like the migraine or I'm just like, I gotta get out because it makes me just not enjoy a movie as much.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm just more thinking about like if I feel ill.
You know, it's weird. Those are actually the kind of movies like if it has strobing, I can watch it like on my laptop.
Yeah.
Because like the screen is smaller and I'm usually in like a little bit of a better lit room. But then as soon as I'm like at a movie theater with the big screen and it's strobing and I'm in the dark, I'm like, I don't know if I can do this.
Because something happens to your eyes. Like even at the New Bev, I know it pretty well. When I go to the bathroom and it's light there and I walk back in, the last time I was there, I walked out to see, unfortunately, the Choir Boys.
Sorry.
No, it's yeah. And for those watching and listening who don't know, because I try to be religious about not seeing the films. I mean, not listening to the show before I see the films. The first time back at the New Bev was to see the Choir Boys and Hennessy, and the Choir Boys is wretched.
Yeah,
it's wretched.
I don't disagree with you at all.
You can't. I mean, and it's awful, homophobic, racist, all the stuff that busting is not.
And that's funny, actually. You and I were talking about the Choir Boys, the scene with the gay kid.
Yeah.
Busting does it. Like everything in the Choir Boys, just it's so much better.
It's so much better.
It's like a direct comparison. It's like why watch the Choir Boys? Why watch the Choir Boys when you could watch Busting?
Yeah, it covers all the same beats, including the public restroom monitoring and stuff.
Yeah.
But with the gay scene, it's clear who the bad guys are. It's the cops. So whereas it's not in this, and even the guy who's compassionate, it's just like. You have an illness, basically.
Yeah.
But anyway, enough about that.
Let's not listen. As I always say, the best two parts about Choir Boys: the opening credits sequence and the last frame of the film.
Because you know it's over.
I know it's over. When I told Quentin at the end was the best, he was like, "Oh, you mean the credits sequence?" I was like, no way. The laughing credit sequence. Ugh.
I fled the theater. I usually watch all the credits. I fled the theater when those credits started. The movie felt like it was 2.5 hours. I don't know if it was.
Yeah, I think it is.
It's way too long. Also, last thing I'll mention about it is when I was watching it, after Randy Quaid was just in it and drunk a couple times, I'm like, did they film a lot more than was used in this? Turns out
they did.
Wild.
Yeah, exactly.
I can only imagine what the budget was for that too.
I know.
Way too much.
Probably.
Yeah.
But Perkins.
Yes, thank you.
My third final scene that was like I love is that when Laughlin leaves his wife's house and he's closed the box on the lifesavers. And he's kind of leaving that life behind.
Yeah.
and I'm trying to figure out the reading of the lifesaver, like, because I think it's just too literal to be like, it's a lifesaver. He wants to be a lifesaver.
Yeah.
My dad was saying it's like the shape of the lifesaver. So it's like when you throw someone the thing to reel them back in to protect them.
Yeah.
But then also, does a lifesaver represent like some kind of Americana? I don't know.
Well, and also the saver, what's it called? It's not like a phobia. It's like, you know, when people in relationships get with problematic people because they're a complex, savior complex.
Yeah, so it's like, I'm not sure if it's something like that, but I'm really interested in that piece, because why else would that be the wrapping paper on his jersey box that she gives him? It's very strange.
Yeah, you can't get that. That's not like normal wrapping paper.
No, it's definitely Ken Russell wrapping paper.
Yes,
but
I would buy that line.
Yeah,
Ken Russell wrapping paper and wallpaper.
Oh my God, can you imagine your house with that? But when you think that he's the one going back to her house,
yes,
and then when she opens the door and it's Anthony Perkins. And he kicks open the door. That is so good.
It's so good. And it's such a great fake out. And the other fake out, which is at the very end, which I had to rewind, even though I'd seen the film before, is more illustrating of what Perkins is saying earlier is actually true. So this brings me to another main theme of the film, is that it's about the danger of repressing your sexuality. So Annie Potts, who knows whether or not she's repressing it, she could be asexual. And denial as a theme,
or
too.
also just uneducated.
Yes,
or
probably
pushed into thinking that it's wrong to have these desires. There's lots of different, like a whole thing of plethora of things that people could be or be affected by that could lead her to those conclusions.
Exactly. And like the sex was like not great, but she didn't know how to make it better, and it was to have kids and all of that stuff. And maybe they didn't have the emotional connection that they thought they had, but they were getting married and everyone's family was excited about it, etc. But the repression of and denial of sexual compulsions, or not even compulsions, just desire, is one of the reasons I think that Perkins is so consumed with China Blue. I mean, he maybe could have picked anyone, but she seems to have no compunction about anything she does, and he clearly has a lot of problems with it, which is evidenced by the last scene with Perkins and Kathleen Turner. So he stalks her to her place of work, and that scene is super spooky.
With the elevator with all the mannequins?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then he's just there, and that's when you think he's going to attack her.
With the driller killer, like crazy. For those of you who haven't seen it, Perkins wields this like crazy metallic dildo that vibrates, and it has a point. And when Turner first sees it, she's like, "Oh, are you going to try to kill a woman with this?" And basically he's like, "Yeah, that's the plan."
Yeah, that's
like he just admits to her, "I'm like, you're the one that I've decided."
You're the one. Throughout the film, he keeps saying, "You're the one."
Yeah,
you're the one.
I mean, he's warning her.
His language changes towards the end. It's almost like he's schizophrenic, because he's slightly reverent of her, and then it's like, "Bitch, this fucking whore," like all that stuff. He either has a cross-dressing fetish, some kind of sexual kink that he can't accept, which is how I read the last scene at Kathleen Turner's house.
Yeah, that was actually my big question with me and my dad, because when we were watching it, what I like about that scene is that Laughlin is not the one who saves her. Kathleen Turner saves herself.
Exactly.
And that's the interesting part of the scene, because it's like, what was going on there? As my dad says, how do you explain that one to the cops? No. You like dress up in his outfit and he's dressed up in yours, and like, what's going on here?
And the last, oh, go ahead.
No, but just that was my question, is like, what the heck is going on there? Like, what? Because he has her tied up, and then he unties her, and then he says, "Kill me." And then all of a sudden, is she killing China Blue, like herself? Is she getting rid of that part of her life, or is he having some kind of kink fetish thing that he's fulfilling? I don't know.
My take on it was it was like he's going to finally experience the kink that he wanted, which is to be China Blue. But he can't live with himself afterwards. And also he has threatened her so much, and she is in danger. She's going to get killed if she doesn't do what he says, basically, which is not what you expect. So yeah, like you said, he has her tied up, and she's tied to like a design table, right?
Yeah, but it's almost like she's tied up like Jesus.
Yes.
Because she's like arms out on the cross at her white design table.
Yes.
Her pure design table, which is like her pure life that she's been living, kind of the lie, that she's stone ice cold around men.
Yeah. Does he break some of the stuff up too?
Yeah, so basically, like when he comes into the room, it's like he's smashing up the place, but using her as the tool to smash.
Oh, that's right, which is so
he's throwing
horrifying.
her around. Like when he first pushes the door open, her head goes against the erotic art that she's been taking off the wall and breaks the glass. And then he takes her and he puts her across her glass table.
Yeah.
And then he ties her up. And then he plays that song on the piano, which
Forget
is
your troubles, come on, get happy.
Yeah, exactly. It's like
Yeah.
shockingly like intense and good, and I love when scenes boil up like that.
Me too. And that was I mean, I'd seen the movie before, but years ago completely forgot about that part, and that is one of the most jarring things in the whole film.
Yeah,
which I love. And then he goes, time to die, bitch.
Yeah,
right. And so you think, okay, she's either going to die or Laughlin's going to save her or something, right? Because he's on his way over. But then there's that, so when he gets there, Laughlin witnesses this, and there's a double fake out because
the double fake out is really, really good.
Yeah. And how does it's...
Well, what happens is Laughlin enters the apartment and he sees China Blue in her wig sitting on the couch, and he sees that she's okay, but that someone's broken in, so he walks in past her into the bedroom.
Yeah.
And that's when the figure that's dressed in male clothing jumps out with the driller killer and stabs the person dressed in China Blue's outfit. This is the unclear part to me. Okay, because clearly Perkins is China Blue at this moment. Yes. And Turner is in his outfit. But why is China Blue holding those scissors? Because is Perkins planning on killing Laughlin when Laughlin enters?
It must be.
Because that's like the part that always confused me about this scene. And Sandler, if you're out there listening, call me, explain this moment to me, because, or maybe I'll call him. I don't know. I got now I kind of got to know.
Maybe I'll check the commentary, because after a certain point, he's the only one doing it.
But it always confused me, because it's like, is Kathleen Turner actually saving Laughlin from China Blue, like Perkins stabbing him, or were they playing some game where it's like she's pretending to be Turner and she's going to stab Turner with the scissors? Like, I don't know what's going on there.
I think it might be protecting Laughlin because she sees the scissors or something. I don't know if a glint of light goes on.
She sees, it's a really weird cut. It's like the person dressed up as Perkins, as the reverend, jumps, and then the stabbing hits, and then I think the reaction happens, and then it's like the hand with the scissors, and like the hand with the scissors getting removed.
That's right. And perhaps he was like tricking her that he was going to kill her at the same time, but he's foiled by, well, I guess her killing him. I have to watch that bit again.
Yeah, that's the part that like I really was confused about at the end, because I was thinking, what's going on here? Why is this like... I understand kind of the cross-dressing a little bit, but it's that addition of the scissors.
The scissors thing is confusing. But also the look on Perkins' face when he's seen by Laughlin, that's when he's like, oh my God. It's like he's horrified.
Yeah, that someone's seen him.
Not so much that he's dying, but then he seems thankful to be released from his hell. Yeah. When he's killed. And I think that's what he means by "you're the one." Yeah.
Well, he's also been going around killing... we can talk about this. I think Perkins has been killing other hookers because there is that moment, and Ken Russell uses the sex doll magnificently.
Oh my God, that's
moment, right. Where Perkins is like, they're doing cocaine or amyl nitrate or whatever. Yeah. Or the reverend is doing.
Yeah, the reverend.
The reverend is doing drugs and watching the nudie girls dancing. And then at one point it's like you see her get stabbed with this driller killer, and Ken Russell does what he does best, which I really love, that he cuts between reality and like a fake artistic object. Yeah. And he uses the sex doll to show the murder of this girl, and also maybe that she is just seen as a sex doll to men.
And also my reading on it was that he is holding himself back from killing. He wants to kill these hookers because they represent what he would like to be doing. Yeah. But instead he kills a sex doll. And he's thinking of that woman.
I think you're right, because even though they flashed the dead woman inside of that roundabout where men can look at her, in the end when he's with the sex doll, I think he's at his little shrine dedicated to Turner. Yeah. But it's like, did he kill her and then bring back the sex doll, or is he just like the sex doll? That's what I like about this movie. There's layered, like, is it real? Is it not?
Right.
Which parts, whose fantasies are we living?
Right. And it's funny to think of, even we go back to the reality in quotes of Perkins' room.
The reality.
I know. And the seediest area, I'm trying to remember, they said in the commentary like where they filmed it.
Yeah.
And I think they said they didn't have to do too much to the area. I'm not sure.
Like also, like, does she know that he's a peeping Tom to her? I thought about that. Like, is he paying to be a peeping Tom?
That's a good question.
Because she has that little hole set up.
Yeah, she does. It's not like in Psycho where it's dug out of the thing. I don't know. I feel like I don't think she does.
Yeah.
I don't think she does, because the only time he pays her on the time when he comes to the door, but she's kind of been like pushing him away and like, no thanks, Reverend, or if you want whatever, it's $50 or whatever it is. And I think she's unaware that he's next door the whole time. That's my take.
Yeah, I'm unclear. I always thought about that and the scissors. I was always like, these are the two things that don't really make a lot of sense to me, but they don't really bother me. Like, it's not like the addition of them upsets me in any way.
No, I like also, and Ken does this all the time. Ken, like, I know him.
Yeah, same. I know. It's like Mr. Sir Russell.
Yes, exactly. Or Uncle Ken, as people in England would call him.
Oh my God, I
Isn't
love
that
it.
Great.
I love it.
And he would always be on talk shows and everything, talking about. He's like, you know what? He's like if Michael Winner wasn't a pig, he's like the inverse, the negative, not the negative, the positive version of Michael Winner.
I just think Ken Russell was just exactly who Ken Russell was, and that's what I love about him and his cinema.
Did you see him on Big Brother, Celebrity Big Brother?
No, but people have been sending me this, telling me, Gala, you have to watch the Celebrity Big Brother episodes.
Just one.
Just the one.
There's a 7-minute clip.
Does he leave?
He leaves after having a massive row with Jane Goody, who was like a tabloid celebrity who I think is now passed on.
I can't believe Ken Russell was on Celebrity Big Brother.
It blew my mind. When I found that out, I had to download the entire season years ago on torrent. And then I shared the folder with someone, and they deleted the episodes. But now it's on YouTube. But I was pissed.
I would be upset at that too.
You know who his housemates were or included?
I've heard there's one interesting person in there.
Jermaine Jackson.
Oh, and when the rain begins to fall.
Exactly.
You know what? I think that's why I found out that Ken Russell was on Celebrity Big Brother, is because I was looking up the whole Jermaine Jackson connection.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait a second, he was on Celebrity Big Brother, and then I got down the little rabbit hole and saw that Ken Russell. So yeah, I have to watch that 7-minute clip. Okay, it's on YouTube.
It's the big thing. I mean, he's in the rest of it. The first episode's kind of interesting because they're asking like, oh, who are you? Because all these people don't know him. He's like, I used to make films. You've probably never seen any of them. I'm an old man director.
You've never seen any of my amazing movies that like are the best movies of all time.
I know, because I think at that point, was it 2005, 2007? He couldn't get anything financed. Now, didn't he later on make a lot of movies just on video?
Yeah, there's a bunch of like, there's a spattering, and it's interesting because when you look at credits like on Letterboxd, for example, some of them are like, you don't know if they're out there. Like sometimes people just generate titles like, oh, he was supposed to do this, so here's the title up for it, and it's like, well, did that ever be released?
Did it come to fruition?
There's like, I'm gonna be honest, on Letterboxd, there's like Alfred Hitchcock movies that are like, oh, only one frame exists from this film.
That's not possible.
So here's the frame.
Yeah,
you can look at it and you can log the movie, and I'm like, that doesn't exist. That's not real.
It doesn't count.
But I mean, he made horror afterwards.
Yeah.
Did he make Gothic after, or did Gothic come right before?
I need to see Gothic. I think it came out.
I think it came out after. And then also, Lair of the White Worm was after. Yes, Lair of the White Worm. I know Ken Russell's The Planets was after.
Mm-hmm.
And then he did all those Elton John music videos, and I think he did all those other music videos that you and I were watching this morning.
So Cliff Richard was that was wild. The one with the baby suspended by wires.
I want you to remake that picture. I want that so bad.
We will. Maybe we'll Photoshop the wires in. I got to show that to Ada. She's going to be just blown away by that. And then the Pandora's Box one is insane.
That one reminds me of his Aria short a lot.
I have to watch the Aria short. He I thought that he did Cliff Richard's Summertime. Oh, no, his Christmas song, but it wasn't that. It was that one, that nutty one. I also like the idea of Cliff Richard and Ken Russell being in the same room together because they couldn't be more polar opposites.
Yeah.
And Cliff Richard is either a very skilled soccer player or learned how to do it for that clip. There's a clip for Wired for Sound that I must show you or send you. He roller skates like the best roller skater you ever saw because the whole time he's roller skating. and he can make it's just wild. Folks out there, watch it because I also like that Cliff Richard can come to America and no one knows who the fuck he is. He can walk around totally free.
Apparently Ken Russell can go into the UK house and everyone's like, who are you? Oh, I don't know who you are.
Right. I know. Well, I think also there was a lot of like people you don't know who the fuck they are. And,
well, I would know. I mean, I know who Jermaine Jackson is, and I know who Ken Russell is.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's about it.
I think there's even one person who asked Jermaine Jackson who he is and what does he do. He goes, "Oh, I play bass."
Humble.
I think he was also had some distaste for the person he was on with. Oh, Celebrity Wife Swap.
Oh, I love Wife Swap, and we talked about my love for reality TV.
Indeed, you've seen all of 90 Day Fiancé?
Yes.
That's a lot of hours
he learned my deep, dark secret.
I know, and I want to expose them because that's what it's all about.
I've seen all of 90 Day Fiancé. I used to watch Wife Swap, Trading Spouses.
I hadn't heard of Trading Spouses.
Trading Spouses was like Wife Swap, except they got money at the end.
Oh.
But the mothers got to, or sometimes fathers, actually. They did have the dads go sometimes, but it works better when the moms go.
Well, Celebrity Wife Swaps, not to interrupt, I want to hear the other shows too, but on Celebrity Wife Swap, there was a Jermaine Jackson one.
Oh, really?
It's amazing.
Okay,
and there was a Pia Zadora one where she swapped with Cloris Leachman.
Oh my gosh.
Amazing.
You know that John and Kate +8?
Yes,
yeah. They had one on Celebrity Wife Swap. Whoa. And she swapped, and I can't remember who she swapped with, but man, that would have been my nightmare if I had swapped there.
That'd be a tough one. Like if I agree, imagine you agree to the show and they go, okay, and so here's who you're swapping with, and you'd be like, oh no, oh
8 children,
and that guy.
Yeah,
that's the worst part, probably.
Yeah, I don't know.
I
have no clue. Just the whole thing. It seems like she's going on vacation.
She's like, this is great. I never want to go back.
Yeah, but Trading Spouses, the big difference is just at the end, the mothers got money, but it's for the other family, and then they allocate the money to the other family how they think that they need it.
Oh, I've seen that.
Yes, and then there's that one episode where it's like the devil worshiper woman. Well, she's not a devil worshiper. Like they have Satan in their house, and she has that epic meltdown.
Okay.
And then she refuses the money, but the money was like all good things for her children. That meltdown is really epic.
When people refuse money.
I'm a god warrior. I think that's her big line, where she just keeps yelling, "I'm a god warrior."
Okay, I'm gonna have to see that one.
Yeah, I'll send that clip to you.
Please do, thank you. Oh, and then there's the Salome that he did.
Yeah, Salome's Last Dance, which is really, really good, actually. I think it's a telling of the play.
Okay,
but I think it's really just we're putting on the play. The camera is kind of looking at the stage, and then there is like a little bit of an audience and like the story about the audience that kind of comes in, and then Salome, and then like some drama that happens a little bit after the play, which is very similar to The Boyfriend and how he shoots The Boyfriend.
Yeah.
I actually really enjoy Salome. The costumes are really beautiful. Mm-hmm. I think it's told really well. Mm-hmm. You really fall into like the mysticism and the magic of it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that one's pretty good.
And I've had the Region 2 DVD of that over there for like 10 years. Have not watched it. I think I bought it for a Videodrome event where I was like, I need some of this specific Ken Russell thing. I think it was for like someone had like a Caligula theme, like sort of dance, a party that I did visuals for. And so I was like, I got to get this, I got to get that.
Yeah.
He also did, this is the other thing. I'm glad I didn't forget totally. After Altered States, he had a film that was in development for a while, and it came like a week's away from production. You know what I'm talking about? Evita.
Yeah, I've heard of this, and it fell apart, and that's one of the reasons why he took Crimes of Passion, is because it's he was trying to get this movie together, and it just fell apart. And actually, you reminded me of something about Laughlin's character.
Oh, okay, yeah.
His big discussion that he has with his wife in that store when he's basically like she's saying, I want you to come back to me and stuff. He gives the whole speech about it's not a crime to be passionate.
Right.
Which is like the whole title of the movie, Crimes of Passion.
Yeah.
But then he says it's a crime to lie. And that's the interesting thing I really think about the movie, is because he's talking about like, she's lying.
Yeah.
But okay, he's lying to her about like sleeping with China Blue and like what he's been doing. China Blue is lying to everyone.
Does he deny that he's been with someone?
He doesn't deny that he's been with someone, but he doesn't say that he's been with someone either.
Sure.
A lie of omission is still a lie.
Yes, that's very true.
I'm going to take Captain Jean-Luc Picard. I'm going to quote Sir Patrick Stewart.
You're gonna take Laughlin down.
I'm gonna take him down. I've done like my research. You don't ever spite a girl. She's like we are better than Sherlock Holmes in that point. But I think that's like the interesting thing though is that it's not a crime to feel passion,
That's
but it is
right.
a crime to lie. And they're all liars.
Yeah.
Anthony Perkins' character might be kind of the more truthful one in all of this. I'm not sure though.
But then we're never really sure if he's really a preacher.
Yes.
I don't think he is. I think he's a nut.
He's just on drugs and just doing it.
Yeah, he is. And also, here's another thing that blew my mind. All the sex toys that he has outside of the driller killer, Perkins brought those.
Oh, no. I
Perkins-
don't want to even imagine where those had been.
Oh, my God. I know. I think he had some wild parties. But yeah, he picked that out. Also, I believe he would sleep in his costume
That sounds about right.
and then come to so that costume never got washed the entire time.
That's probably why Kathleen Turner was like, yeah, it was really interesting working with him. It was really not easy.
Not easy because coke sweat, sleeping in your clothes, and
Well, he looks grimy. He
really grimy
does.
and sweaty, and there's a
wonder-
sheen to him that's
I
not.
wonder, when do you think that, like, do you think because you don't always obviously film a movie in order.
Right.
But like if he's sleeping in his clothes, I wonder if you can kind of pick out what scenes that they shot in what order. Like
I bet
does
you
he
can.
look dirtier at the beginning than he does at the end? Or like, you know?
That's fascinating. And the next time I watch it, which
I
might be
know.
the theatrical cut.
Just to see what it's like.
Just to see. Yeah, exactly.
And then there's that third cut that I've seen floating around. And then one of my friends has a Crimes of Passion VHS, and the box says it's like 103 minutes. The tape says it's 105.
Yeah, and the director's cut is uncut plus a couple more minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think they used they couldn't find the original negative for that, so it's like a lower grade film. But you don't really notice it. What's weird are the deleted scenes that are on the Blu-ray because they're totally unprocessed, and it feels there's more friend group stuff. So I was like, I don't really want to watch this.
I'm glad that was cut.
Me too, but I loved how brutal those scenes were because I was like, this is the most painful part of the movie. This is awful.
I know. The thing is, I would definitely want to escape those parts, but Laughlin is what makes those parts unbearable. So it's
Okay.
like with his like the human penis thing and like he really makes it unbearable. So it's like he's escaping, but like I don't know where to. He's still going to be himself. Are he and Kathleen Turner, are he and China Blue going to end up together in the end?
It seems like they are because he says neither of us know what this is going to be, but we're going to explore it or something. And one thing I really love is that at no point does he say, I want you to give up what you do. I don't think.
But if we're looking at it though, also it's like at the end when Perkins' character has dressed up as China Blue and then she's stabbed China Blue and killed China Blue, did she kill China Blue or did she kill Perkins? It's like, is she going to remain a prostitute, collecting money from Johns in the middle of the night, and then in her day job, in her real life, in her white light, stay with Laughlin?
You know what? She might be giving up China Blue.
Yeah.
She might be. Yeah.
I don't know.
Because she doesn't after they have their
romantic connection.
Yeah, and sex in her apartment as I can't remember her character's name.
Yeah.
But as like
she's just China Blue to us.
Yeah, she's China Blue forever and ever. Yeah, exactly. Well, I like the vagueness of the ending, and you know that group therapy session at the end was tagged on after test screenings because imagine just the movie ending right after that.
Right after Perkins.
And then
dies.
like credits roll. So that was reshot. I think I can't figure out how they shot that.
It must just be like a trick of the eye, like with the camera and stuff. But that is gorgeous. To be honest, you can almost tell that it was reshot, though, the ending scene, because the beginning scene of him at the therapy is so great.
Yeah.
And I know it's like the light versus kind of the dark in the end because the room is like tonally darker. But the full circle around him that kind of looks like a halo.
Yes.
And then in the end, it's kind of like not so many people in the chairs. It's kind of broken.
Yeah, it's like some of the crew were sitting
darker
in. Yeah,
some of the crew were sitting in. It's a darker light. But it's a gorgeous shot. Like Ken Russell and his use of mirrors. When China Blue's putting on the or taking off her lipstick in that one scene.
Yeah.
And you see her in the round mirror and then you see her in the other mirror. It's just gorgeous.
And there's another shot, right, where she's she's emotionally unstable at that point, and she's trying to put on her stuff.
Yes,
and
her
she
eyeliner
can't.
after she has sex for the very first time, I think, with Laughlin.
Yes, that's right. And then, is that before or after the cop scene?
That might come before the cop scene.
And she's right. And she's so upset, and she takes that on him.
Yeah.
Another classic use, by the way, of the Russell zoom. Not that many
the
people.
zoom.
Yeah, zooming in and out doesn't often happen.
I know, but I love that. Okay, I don't like the cop scene. I'm glad that it's taken out, but
I love the scene.
The zoom in and out of like just the craziness. Only thing I'm surprised that is like very Ken Russell that is not in this movie is all like his Nazism. Not him.
Not his, but
not
his repudiation
or his
of.
depiction
Yes.
of the ridiculousness of Nazis.
Yeah.
They have a little tiny bit
Where?
in the limousine when she gets picked up by the couple looking for a threesome,
Yes.
where they start talking about like the Jews and something, and then Kathleen Turner gets really upset, and so she leaves the car.
Yeah, because they disrespected her.
Yeah,
because the woman says, "Oh, don't kiss her. You never know where these people have been."
Yeah, and
or
she
something.
disrespects her, but she's also disrespecting like the woman is clearly being anti-Semitic
Oh,
and like
wildly
just
so.
also really rude to everyone involved.
Yeah.
But that's really the only inkling. Like when you watch some of his other movies, and of course he's doing it for shock factor, to depict like here's as far as we can go.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna go really far.
Yeah.
And usually he has, I forgot, I wish I remembered her name. He has like this kind of cast of characters that
Yes.
are always like what's his name? Vladik Shebal, who's in
Okay.
The Apple. Playing Mr.
Oh,
Boogaloo.
yes,
Mr.
yes.
Boogaloo. He's like in like 3 or 4 of his movies.
I love Mr. Boogaloo.
And then, but he has that really wonderful girl who has she has cropped black hair.
Yes.
And she's in like 4 of his movies. She's in like Women in Love and The Music Lovers.
Okay,
and
yeah.
I think she's in The Music Lovers, and she's in The Boyfriend. I forget why I brought her up.
Oh
but,
no, it's okay. Why do we bring anything up on Movie Club?
I don't know, but I'm just talking about Ken Russell's cast of characters.
Yeah.
They're just in all these things. I'm kind of missing that from Crimes of Passion a little bit,
There
because
is-
he
yeah.
does have like this British core team. What's his name? That, oh my God, the raging alcoholic that I love so much, who's in The Devils, who stars in The Devils.
Oh, Oliver Reed.
Oliver Reed. All of his work with Oliver Reed is spectacular. Specifically, I think it's the scene in Women in Love, the wrestling scene in front of the fire.
Now,
Have you seen that?
Sadly, I got the Blu-ray in
Oh my
anticipation of our talk, and I didn't get a chance to watch
That's
it.
fine.
Because I couldn't. My region-free player, I forgot you have to hit a button for it to.
It's okay. I've done that before.
Right, and I was like, this thing's fucking broken.
My dad actually called the DVD company once and was like, "What's going on? It won't play." And they're like, "Oh, you have to press that button." He was like, "Oh, okay, thank you, sir."
That's exactly when I read it online. I was like, oh, because I was talking to Ada, and I was like, I don't know what to do. I can't. But and I was like, I want to watch this movie, Lara of the White Worm, and I can't.
Mm-hmm.
So then I was watching it, and right as I was like, it's about to get real Ken Russell-y, I was like, I have to take a nap because I have a commitment later.
Yeah.
I was like, if I don't turn it off now, I won't turn it
Yeah.
off. Women in Love, the legendary naked wrestling
legendary
scene.
naked wrestling scene with Oliver Reed
And Alan Bates.
and Alan Bates. It's spectacular. But what other director could get them to do that besides Ken Russell?
Well, check this out too. Russell tells a story about how he was going to restage that, and I don't know if restage nude or not. Probably nude.
Knowing Ken Russell was nude.
It was nude, and no other director could do that. He was going to restage it in an outdoor setting because he felt that like a sitting room was too restrictive. Oliver Reed bangs on his door one day as
I would be so scared if that happened to me.
horrified, right? Horrified. I'm fascinated with Oliver Reed though.
I am too. I think he's gloriously handsome.
Yeah, and absolutely he is, and he's so like rugged, and his presence is undeniable.
Yeah.
And now I think you'll really enjoy The Devils. You'll have to let me know which DVD you have, because I believe if I don't have the uncut, I have the almost uncut version, widescreen. I think it was on a streaming service very briefly.
It was.
And someone had got a high-res rip of it. So I can send that to you as well.
Yeah, I'll let you know. I managed to get a DVD of it.
Yeah.
Not sure. To be honest, I have my stack of Ken Russell that I'm waiting to do. I was telling Craig earlier, for everyone else, that we were supposed to do The Devils on Video Archives podcast. Didn't do it this season. Sorry, guys. It's not coming up. I don't know when this episode comes out, but The Devils is not coming out on Video Archives podcast.
Yeah.
Sorry. So I'm just going to watch it on my own.
Yeah,
So.
I think that's the way to do it. I saw it at the silent movie theater, and some other fuckers were talking. First, it was a couple talking, and then their friend joined in, and I said that I had to shush them. Then I'm coming out of the bathroom after the movie, and they were like, "Can you believe that guy had shushed us?" And I wished I just said like,
You should have. Shh.
I know.
You
I
just
should have
write
been
that
like,
in there.
I should have laid into them. I should have been like, we're at a fucking repertory cinema watching Ken Russell's The Devils, and you're gonna. What are you talking about? That's so interesting. That movie is so hardcore. I know.
I need to see it.
You do, because it is still shocking, and I had some ketamine before the movie, which it wore off like right at the beginning. I was like, whew. Yeah, because that movie is. It's grisly. It is brutal. So, and I don't want to oversell it, but I'm sure you've heard.
No,
this
the thing
before.
is, it's like I haven't watched it yet because it's like once I've watched it, it's like how much more Ken Russell can I find?
I know you've really done.
I've really watched a lot, but the thing that's beautiful about his movies is you can just keep watching them. I don't have to only watch them once.
No, I've seen Lisztomania many times. Tommy, countless.
I want to see
times.
Tommy tonight. I think I want to watch that tonight.
That's a great idea. If you want to watch it after the taping,
yeah,
I'm more than happy to fire that up. What was the other thing I was going to say about?
You're watching The Devils at the silent movie show.
Oh yeah, and they shushed me and stuff. Actually, that's the only Ken Russell movie I've seen in the theater. But what a movie to see in the theater, because there's no escaping.
I know.
No escaping, and it's a brilliant commentary on not just religion, but mass groupthink and how things can go wrong. But there's another film about, and also legendarily for those who don't know, it's still unavailable technically in the fully uncut version because of a scene called The Rape of Christ, which is apparently so offensive that like even now Mark Kermode said that Warner has a totally restored version of it with that in it and won't release it.
Give it to me.
The piece about the Evita film that I forgot to mention.
Oh yeah, Evita, which was the movie that he was supposed to do, but then he took Crimes of Passion instead when it fell apart.
And the reason it fell apart is Robert Stigwood was producing it, and they were getting along great, except Stigwood insisted that Elaine Page play the lead, and Russell was adamant not. That was the reason why. And Stigwood would replace directors if they refused him on casting choices, etc.
Wow.
He replaced, I'm trying to remember the original director of Saturday Night Fever.
Wow.
But he replaced him because the guy wanted a happy ending. And he said, no. And then he argued with him and he said, okay, that's it. You're done.
Isn't that interesting? Because it's like really that for better or for worse, that is really a creative producer who has vision of what movie is. It's not just like some guy with a wad of cash in his pocket.
No, exactly. No, he was fully invested, and actually Saturday Night Fever was what it was because of him. And also he changed the entire paradigm of soundtracks affecting the film, soundtracks being a part of the thing, putting the soundtrack out before the movie and having the singles go and like billboards and all this stuff, because Paramount thought this stupid disco movie is never going anywhere. And then of course it's a classic. That's because of Stigwood.
Sometimes, when you're doing the Lord's work, you need a little break. And now that break is over.
So in your bathroom, I was using the restroom.
Yes.
And you have an author poster in there at Toilet Heights. So I was
Yes,
really
exactly.
appreciating it. I've actually never seen the movie, but okay, there's like a song in it, right?
Yes.
Now,
terrible
it's
song.
sung by Michael Franks.
Yes.
Is that the same Michael Franks who sings the Cry For Me Billy song?
I believe it is.
Yeah, the father of whatever. It has his record. What is it called?
Art of Tea.
Yeah, it might be that one, but also which one is the Little Sparrow song on?
That I don't know.
Unavailable. Previously Unavailable is what the album's called. That's
okay.
on. But is that the same Michael Franks?
It is the same Michael Franks.
I
Yes,
can't believe that I could recognize his name.
Nothing could make me happier, Gala, than like Michael Franks being brought up, and like I never even bring him up. Like that thrills me. And also, when you said, "Oh, by the way, about the author poster," I was like, "Yes, and please."
I know, and of course, the one thing I'm staring at is Michael Franks, huh?
No, that delights me to no end. Also, it was written by Israel Horovitz, who is Ad Rock from Beastie Boys' dad, who unfortunately did some improper things with some students and stuff.
Yeah.
But that doesn't besmirch the mediocrity of the film, which is, it's a good watch because it's also the film that Al Pacino made immediately after Cruising.
Oh,
And
okay.
and I think he did it to repair his image or something. He was lost for a while in the early 80s. That, I mean, Cruising is a masterpiece, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, do you like that movie?
Yes.
I love it. And author is not great, but everyone in it's wonderful. I think Tuesday Weld I should know. I have the poster, but
Yeah, in your bathroom.
Yeah. Oh, I have to find this eBay seller that I bought this stuff from because he, in addition to that, I have a full set of original cruising lobby cards in mint condition.
That's the crazy thing is all these lobby cards. Like when we did the Great Waldo Pepper episode, my dad and I really we looked around because my dad loves the Great Waldo Pepper, and so we got all these lobby cards.
Nice.
We got stills from the movie. My dad picked up books. It was yada yada yada, but it's a treasure trove. It's they're not only posters for movies. There are lots of other things you can collect if you love a movie.
A lot, like novelizations, which I had no idea were so extensive until I heard Quentin talking about them.
Well, one novelization, because originally we were going to cover Sorcerer on the podcast. And so we were, like I mentioned earlier, we were going through it, and it's interesting because as you know, I think it's a book originally made into a French movie.
That's right.
And then based on the French movie, not the book, Sorcerer was adapted from the movie. So it's not adapted from the book, it's adapted from the movie.
Okay, because Friedkin says this thing. He's like, it's not a remake. I love doing my Friedkin impression. It's not a remake. He's like, how many versions of Hamlet have there been? So why?
Then maybe he did take it from the French, but it must have been a French book translated into English. Unless Friedkin was a fluent French speaker, but I don't know about that.
I'm not sure about that, but he was married to Jean Moreau.
So that is possible.
It is possible.
Well, Friedkin took either from the book or the movie or both.
Yeah.
Because we accept that also.
Oh, and you could be absolutely correct. I just like repeating things he said.
I'm going to trust Sir Friedkin. I'm going to trust him.
He's another official sir. Yes,
in my house, he is. Yes. In my house, he is. That's for sure.
In mine as well.
So Friedkin took from either the book, the movie, or both.
Yeah.
Made Sorcerer, and then Sorcerer has its own novelization.
That's wild.
So it's it goes from there's two books that tell the same story in two completely different ways, and the Sorcerer novelization does a really interesting thing. Sometimes it's in third person, and sometimes it's in first, and it goes between it. And it was really jarring when I realized that, because I'm reading and then the next chapter, it's just third person all of a sudden. I'm like, wait a second.
Wait, what?
Who is telling me this story and what's going on here? I love that movie though.
I love that movie so much. It was a thrill to see it at the Prince Charles, as I was telling you.
Yeah.
The week after doing the Q&A with Wang Chung after To Live and Die in LA, all of us, Wang Chung, Ada, myself, and some of Nick's kids, went back the next week just to have more Szechuan food. Anyone listening who ever goes to the Prince Charles Cinema, go to Barshu. Best Szechuan I think I've ever had. And then we just went and watched Sorcerer.
I love it.
It's so good. And Jack told me all these incredible Friedkin stories.
That's amazing.
It was so great because he worked with him on The Guardian, which I haven't seen. But I feel like I've done my penance with Friedkin because I've seen Deal of the Century, which is god-awful. Sir Friedkin, made a bad movie. Oh well, it happens.
It's still Friedkin.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like we were talking about before when you said on the low end of Ken Russell, it's still Ken Russell.
Yeah.
A friend of mine and I used to say, listen, the worst Rolling Stones album, the worst Elton John album,
the worst Beatles album.
Yeah, they're still better than almost everyone else's best album.
I know. And I'm not a huge Coen Brothers fan, but my dad always tells me, when they're gone, you'll be sorry. You'll be sorry when they're gone, when they stop making movies. Even when people are like, oh, this one's bad, this one's good. The fact that they have a body of work that you can pick, this one's bad, this one's good, this one's better, this one's worse.
Yeah.
Just shows how you really will miss them when they're gone.
It's really true.
Me, maybe not so much, but people will. I might grow to appreciate those movies.
Yeah, you might. I wonder how people with Ken Russell.
I think Ken Russell's kind of you either love it or you hate it.
And people in Britain hated him.
But you know what, though? The film critics in Britain, my dad always says that it's you read a review from an American person, and it's okay, they don't like my movie. You read a review from a French person, okay, maybe they understand my movie. You read a review from a British critic, and it's twisting the knife and insulting you in ways that you didn't know that you could be insulted.
Yeah.
And they hate you. You've ruined their lives.
Yeah.
You've wasted 2 hours of their time. They would come and stab you if they can.
Yeah, British press, when they're nasty, are incredibly nasty.
I think Ken Russell liked it.
I think he did too. I think he got a charge out of it, probably. There's a great clip of him in the Who's Kids Are All Right documentary where he's wildly enthusiastic. He's like, these people like Harold Wilson don't do anything for the youth. It's people like the who are really making a difference. And rock music is the way that we're going to change this country. It's incredible.
I love him.
I love him so much.
I know.
My impression usually is a little bit more accurate, but particularly when talking about white wine. Like, I don't know, there's something about him saying, Kathleen, would you care for some white wine? Like, there's that.
At 6 a.m.
Oh, he has this great habit, too, of trashing people that he's clearly been very fond of or worked with a lot. Oliver Reed, in an interview, he said, well, you've worked with a lot of wonderful actors, as you said, like Oliver Reed. And he said, when did I say he was a good actor? And they were like, well, but you used him in a lot of films. Well, he was available. And then they had a
oh my God, he's like your uncle that
yes,
hates you but loves you. It's like he hates you, but he'll still pick you up from school when you need him to.
Yeah, exactly. And Rick Wakeman has a story like that too. There's a bonus thing on Crimes of Passion. He said something awful about him and then asked him to do the music for Crimes of Passion, as he had done for Lisztomania. And I can't wait to talk about that stuff in that Lisztomania.
We're gonna have to.
We have to. I remember
it's the law.
It is the law. Thank you for reminding me of that when we're talking about Sir Russell and
all these sirs.
we're duty bound. That's the thing. And also, well, Paul. Okay, I'll start.
Then we're getting to Paul Williams again.
Well, and Paul Nicholas. Oh, I got a Paul Williams album I got to show you.
Okay.
That is like, I think was like mail order only or something like that. Wait,
we were talking about the music in Crimes of Passion.
Music, okay, and the other thing, and then British critics.
Yeah.
The one movie that is available on YouTube in a dodgy quality. I wanted to know if you had access to it or had seen it in any like quality form. The Dance of the Seven Veils was made for the BBC.
Oh, yes. Unfortunately, I have burned a rip of the YouTube version. But people know I love Ken Russell. They send me Dropbox links and things like, I found this, I found this link. If I find it, I'll call you.
Thank you. I appreciate
that. If you use a downloader from YouTube and then you use Plex.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you use the Plex app ever.
I don't, but I've converted via like other things. Yeah.
But the Plex app has this really cool feature where if you name the files in like sequential order, like if they're in parts, it'll actually stitch together the thing for you like into one movie.
Okay, that's
which
really
is
handy.
really useful.
Yeah.
So I've done that with the ones that are on YouTube in like 7 parts. He has a few that are on YouTube. One person has congregated them into a playlist. This angel.
Yes,
that walks the
that's
earth.
what I call them, YouTube angels.
This YouTube angel that walks this earth knows that I need this in my life, and so I appreciated it when I found all these things in one place.
Yeah, I would too. There's a guy who now works for the Letterman organization who has literally every single episode of the David Letterman late night and whatever they call it, the other one, and even his morning show.
Wow.
And then Letterman's company reached out to him a number of times to get copies of things that they couldn't find.
Wow, they just didn't have anymore because they did not take good enough care of it.
Exactly. And he had all of them. And what was the one? Well, you know what he does? He puts together collections. There's a 5-part collection of every episode, every appearance of Monty Python members.
Wow.
Or every SCTV member. And these are like 2 to 3 hours each. And there's an incredible one of every John Waters appearance, including one with Divine.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, for Polyester.
Oh.
And like, can you imagine like having them on network television in 1981?
No, actually, I can't imagine. I can't. But that's probably a glorious sight to see.
It's fantastic. I highly recommend it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else we missed.
There is one thing I'll say in my closing thought to you.
Please.
So, my dad, the man that he is one of the reasons why I watch movies, and I love movies because I love spending time with my dad. But growing up, my dad always had this phrase that he said. And if I would ask, oh, hey, Dad, are you free? He would say, no, but I'm a pretty good deal. And so I started saying that when people ask me, oh, are you free? Well, no, I'm a pretty good deal.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we're watching Crimes of Passion last night. And Laughlin's character comes to the door and says, hey, are you free? No, but I'm a hell of a bargain. And I look at him and I say, my entire life, Dad, my childhood, you were quoting Crimes of Passion to me. And he said, yeah, I just made it kid friendly. So thanks, Dad, for quoting Crimes of Passion to me and making me quote it to people and spreading the love.
That's a beautiful story.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And thanks for sharing it on this very special episode. For Ken Russell fans and folks maybe who are discovering him for the first time. And what do you think would be the best first Ken movie to watch? We may have touched on it, but
well, you know what, I started besides Tommy, when I think Tommy's if you like The Who, Tommy's a good entry point. But I think Altered States is actually a pretty good entry point, even though Ken Russell will say that it is not his favorite, and he actually I don't think liked the movie. I think it's a good entry point because it's Ken Russell, but just a taste of him. He's in these confined box.
Yes, and I did notice when I watched it that I was like, this is not the most Russell. Well, the scenes of the, not hallucinations, but of the
drug trip,
regressions.
yeah.
Yeah, those are very him.
And the monkey scene, too. Also.
Oh, my God. Yeah, and also when William Hurt is first experiencing these certain visions that are very reminiscent of Tommy running against the green screen and all that stuff. Which, that's the one scene that looks a little hokey in Tommy now, but at the time, it must have been incredible, and it's not terrible.
Also, I remember Kathleen and Tommy, they have him walking in like that dirt path, all those like shards of glass everywhere, and he's climbing those big metal balls.
Yes.
The pinballs. That's a crazy scene.
All the set design and that stuff, which partly made me go, how did he do this on the budgets that he had?
Just because people wanted to work with Ken Russell, because you want the experience. Like Kathleen Turner said, it was one of the hardest things she ever did, but she thinks it's her best performance.
Yeah.
And she was really thankful for Ken Russell pushing her. That's what an actor wants, is they want to be pushed and they want to have this experience and be able to wear the badge of honor that says, I was in a Ken Russell film.
Right. And Roger Daltrey, who of course was in 2 of them.
Yeah, back to back.
What a wild year.
I know.
And then he actually has been in a lot of films. He has a really solid acting career. There's a movie called McVicker that is terrific, and it's based on a true story. But he also pops up as like a third lead in tons of stuff. But on the set of Tommy, he experienced the Ken Russell safety features, or the safety guidelines, in that when he did the hang gliding, there was no wires. He just flew out after minimal training. He's like, I believe in you. Nothing bad will happen to you. I know it. And then he sent him out, and Roger Daltrey in his audiobook is like, I did it. I was like, thank God, we're done. And then Ken goes, Roger, that was wonderful. We're going to do it one more time.
Take 2.
Yeah. And then when he's climbing the mountainside, he's really climbing the mountainside. There's no wires.
I know. It's shocking.
Fucking crazy.
It's shocking. But
Yeah.
anyway, I think Altered States is the place to start, because if you like Altered States, it gives you a taste of Ken Russell.
Right.
And the worst thing that can happen is then you like Altered States. If you don't like Ken Russell's other work, then sorry.
You at least saw Altered States. And one of the things that really struck me about it, watching it yesterday, was that it's not just the effects and everything, it's the concepts behind it. And also, the dialogue does not pause for a second for like the average person that they think might not understand it. There's a lot of $10 words in there, and they're said with such rapidity that you're like, these actors are phenomenal, because they're just throwing this stuff back and forth. Bob Balaban's great. Everyone's great in it.
Well, also it's a Patty Chayefsky book, and it's a Patty Chayefsky script.
That's right.
So it's one of the movies in the genre that I love, that is like authors that adapted their own work.
Right.
And I've read the book. And it is, in my opinion, completely different from the movie.
Well, I have to read
It's
the
much
book.
more like a technical manual.
Okay.
Rather than like Ken Russell. And you can really feel Ken Russell in the movie and in the vision.
Sure.
When you actually watch it. That scene where it's like he turns into a sphinx and the sand is over him.
Yeah,
and like,
yeah.
It's shockingly good. I'm shocked.
Yeah,
But,
yeah. I was too. And I thought I'd seen like a fair bit of shocking Ken Russell stuff. But some of the stuff was totally shocking and unexpected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, it's like a non-sexual Ken Russell, which is very unusual in Ken Russell's repertoire.
And even when they're nude and everything, it's more of a sign of vulnerability than anything else. Any closing thoughts on Ken? And I think Tommy's a great first film.
Yeah.
Or Altered States. Because if you're not a fan of The Who, when I remember when I thought, we're not going to hear Tommy on Video Archives, because Quentin was like, I don't really like The Who.
Well, maybe we will, though, because I would like to hear him talk about it, because I think Roger and I would like go at it. The other one that actually might be a good entry point is Valentino.
I have to see that.
Valentino, it's a nice story. It's told really well. It features characters that like and actors that he uses. The boyfriend might be kind of an interesting place to start. Actually, that's a safe Ken Russell to start with.
It was rated G, right?
Yeah, and it is a non-sexual Ken Russell film, and it's kind of fun and cute. I would not start with Mahler, but not because it's not a great movie, but because I think you need to see a little bit more of Ken Russell before you get into Mahler.
That's okay. That's like with my Cassavetes thing. I tell people, stay as far away from shadows as you possibly can until you've developed an obsession with Cassavetes, and then see his basically demo tape. And then watch Faces after you've seen all the other ones.
Yeah. It's interesting though, because the end, now that I think about it, the end of Mahler, the very final, like the poignant piece, like pinnacle that it comes to, is almost the same as the end of Altered States.
Oh, wow.
It's like a choice that you make, and you make the right one.
Actually, that's in a lot of his movies. It's in Crime of Passion.
Yeah.
Crimes of Passion, not Crime of
Yeah,
Passion.
there's not just one crime going on here.
No, there's plenty. There's plenty. And you're making a choice about something major in your life. I need to see all of those, the short omnibus pieces.
Yes.
And then, Oliver Reed. Okay. This is what I forgot to mention.
Oh, yeah. Tell me.
So, well, with Oliver, we had a system developed, which was, I had a shorthand, and it was Moody 1, Moody 2, and Moody 3. Oliver apparently would say, Ken, what are we doing in this scene? And he would just go, give me Moody 1. And he said Moody 1 was very serious, and it was very gripping and affecting, and you'd watch him. And Moody 2 was a little more hostile, a little more, rambunctious. And he said, and Moody 3, it was like hide for cover, because you never knew what he would do. And back to the nude wrestling scene. It's a circular thing, this show, but
but it all comes back to the nude wrestling scene.
It always does, right? So he was going to stage it outside. So he's in his house having spaghetti with his wife. I don't know why he featured that in the story, but I have to.
That's a very important detail.
It is very important.
I'm sorry, but that's really important.
Isn't it? Especially because at a certain point, he hides the plates of spaghetti under the table on chairs because Oliver Reed is thundering at the door, going, I know you're in there. And then they don't say anything. And he goes, I know you're in. He's like, he said, open up or I'll bash this poofy purple door down. And then he knocks again and he goes, I can see you. I can see you through these poofy purple lace curtains.
I can see you. I know you're in there, Ken.
I know you're in there. Open the door before I was like a poofy purple door. And I like to think of Ken's house. I'm like, what must that have looked like?
It's poofy and purple.
It's poofy and purple. And his wife was the set designer on a bunch of stuff, I think.
Which wife?
The one at that for the first wife.
The first wife.
The first wife. And also, what is his name? The director of that movie, Blue. The set direction or the set design for The Devils was done by someone very famous and Derek Jarman. I was going to say someone very noted. Well, I can't remember right now. Derek Jarman designed the sets for The Devils.
Speaking of, Frank Darabont worked on Crimes of Passion. I've noticed his credit in the credits.
Wow.
In like the art department, he was doing set decoration, I think it was. Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy. That's up there with Sissy Spacek being a set designer person on Phantom.
Yeah, and he also did it for is it Scanners? Is that the movie where they come back to LA and it's like La Cahuenga? Is that the movie? No, it's not Scanners. What
La
is it?
Cienega?
Do you know the movie? Okay, it's a Charlie Band film.
No, I don't.
And okay, I can't remember the title. It's a Charlie Band film, and the whole premise is that they have to go into the past to protect someone, but the way that they can time travel is that they have to go back into an ancestor of theirs. So he goes back into his ancestor, and his ancestor lives here in LA. And when he comes, the reason why his girlfriend knows that it's not him is because he's like, how do I get to Cahuenga?
Okay, that's the giveaway?
That's the giveaway because he can't say Cahuenga, and every Angelino knows how to say Cahuenga or La Cienega.
Yeah, exactly.
But I can't remember. Anyway, Frank Darabont worked on that one also.
Okay, yeah, let us know, folks. The Charles Band film.
Sorry, guys.
No, what are you talking about? This is great.
It's a little bit of like a trivia, like figure it out.
Yeah, but that's fun. I love that on your show when it goes down that path, and I like to do that on mine. Not just because of the ADHD, but this is what I like. You talk about movies and it's a passion, and the passion is never ending, and there's so many films. The other great thing is there's always another movie to see.
Yeah. Okay, so wait, did he get
switching the power supply, but everything's operational.
Did he get into the poofy purple house?
Oh, thank you.
Because I need to know the poofy purple house.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I find my mind has been a little bit more fractured recently. Who knows why? But
you got dad brain.
It's dad brain. Swiss cheese dad brain. It really is. So he thunders into the house and he says, he has a woman with him. And Oliver has not read the book Women in Love, with D.H. Lawrence's book. And he just goes, she says that the book is different about the scene. It says it's different. And he said, well, yes, Oliver, it's too restrictive in a room to have this large scene. And he said, you think so, huh? well, yes, I think. And then he grabs Russell and throws him across the room. And then he goes, what do you think? Do you still think so? And he goes, well, I think still it might be. Grabs him and throws him all the way across the room. And he goes, what do you think now? And he goes, Oliver, I think you're right. I think that's a really good idea.
Wow. And all the meanwhile, the spaghetti were on the poofy purple chairs.
Yes, hidden from damage, because he must have intuited that it was going to be a bit of a night.
And did he continue eating his spaghetti afterwards?
I imagine so. He's quite fond of Italian food. In this clip that I'll show you that's about horror, but it's not a spoiler, he is at his favorite restaurant in Soho, where at the time, and he's like, oh, I come here 3 times a week. Fabulous place. And I love Italian food. So clearly he was a big fan of Italian food.
I love that. A man who mentions the food that he's eating is after my heart. My dad always jokes, he's like, if there's a buffet in a movie, if there's food there, Gala's in.
I know. I always love food in a movie too. Like the Goodfellas food scenes are great. Do you have a favorite food scene?
Well, I mean, Bugsy Malone pie fight. It's easy peasy lemon squeezy.
Yes,
it's like I love that.
It's the best. That's definitely a movie I cry during.
I do too. I cried during the soundtrack.
Yeah. Wait, is the song called "Good Guys"? But the last song.
Yeah, so it's a reprise. Today it's a reprise. It's a reprise of Bad Guys, which they sing earlier, and then at the end it's you give a little love.
Give a little love, and it all comes back to you.
You know, you're going to be remembered for the things that you say and do.
I get.
But I love it because we could have been anything that we wanted to be.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying we should, but if we decided we'd like to abide it, we could be the best at being good guys.
It's
because earlier they're like, oh, we could have been anything we wanted to be, but we chose to be bad. And now it's like we're choosing to be good. Again, a movie about choice and free will.
Yes.
Like choosing your destiny. That's what I like about movies, actually. I think that's the genre I like the most.
I think, that's the message that I always love. Even in like Tar, there's things about you can go this way or go that way. Or what happens when you go this way? And what is the unfulfilled promise of the other direction?
Yeah.
Mikey and Nikki. Yeah. Another good example of that. Although they're a little bit more predestined, perhaps.
Yeah, but it's also like, do you choose to do the right thing, and what is the right thing, and is it actually right, and for who?
Yes. Oh, and one aspect that I find the most heartbreaking about Mikey and Nikki is he's trying to tell his wife a story afterwards, and she doesn't understand. She's not a bad person. She's nice, but that person that you had that thing with,
it's gone.
It's gone. And
you were the one that got rid of him.
Yeah, but you had no choice.
Yeah.
So that bit is brutal. I mean, and I love all the Cassavetes. Are you a Cassavetes fan?
You know what? That was like one of my first Cassavetes I saw. So I'm on my Cassavetes journey.
My recommendation, and I think you may have talked about this in the show, Killing of a Chinese Bookie.
That I think was the one that Quentin told me that was like the one that I need to begin with. Or
watch the longer cut though.
Okay. I'm gonna watch I won't watch the theatrical.
No, I have a technicality for you.
Okay, what's the technicality? Tell me.
That was the theatrical cut.
Ooh. And did the director's cut get shorter?
He pulled it from distribution after the reviews were so hostile after Woman Under the Influence were glowing. And I have a theory about this. It was a movie about men instead of Woman Under the Influence, right? Where in some aspects, John Cassavetes was writing about himself as
writers tend to do.
Yeah, he put himself in the woman's character. Also, some people also said Cassavetes was somewhat misogynistic. No one wrote roles for women as sympathetically as he did in that era, especially. And also, Husbands is a depiction of how awful guys are.
Yeah, I think we were talking about it, that a lot of people mistake depicting misogyny for being misogynistic.
Yeah, Depiction is not endorsement. This is something people have got to get through their heads.
Well, also, you have to expose the reality of what's going on in order to talk about it.
Yes.
If we all just pretended that racism didn't exist or sexism didn't exist, et cetera, and we just ignored it, you can't have an open dialogue about it to make sure it doesn't happen.
Yeah, exactly. Like nothing will change and no thoughts will happen. Yeah. So we talked about Cassavetes, and I have other recommendations of that. But what's I just want to see what's left. So
we talked about Turner a lot. We talked about Perkins and his craziness.
A little bit more about Perkins. Again, so we both just saw Psycho recently. Psycho 2 and Psycho 3 are brilliant, and Psycho 3 was directed by Anthony Perkins.
Really?
And a lot of the same lurid color schemes, not exactly the same. He uses color to tremendous effect in it. There's some really sleazy scenes in it. And I love sleaze.
Like
so.
color similar to Crimes of Passion?
Yes, very saturated.
Do you think he learned? It was after, so he must have learned from Ken Russell.
I believe so. I believe that he really liked that way of working. And then he uses different colors, but it's saturation to the degree like Manhunter uses
really?
color
Wow.
coding. I love color coding.
I do too.
Yeah. You know, Miami Vice had severe color coding. Not the film. The film, I think, is an aberration. The series is one of my favorite shows of all time.
Oh, really? Yeah.
And I believe without that show, we wouldn't have The Sopranos or anything that used needle drops. Yeah. And there's a few flaws in that some storylines could have been carried over, but the first season, earth tones were banned. There was a set of colors that were banned. Then the next season, they changed the color scheme completely. That was all Michael Mann's doing. So they went from like pastels to eventually dark greens, purples, and all that stuff. And then the last season, which is kind of a regrettable season, is lots of earth tones.
Yeah. I feel like last seasons of shows, though, always are usually the regrettable part. Because, like, how do you wrap up a great story?
And mainly their aim at that point, because the supernova of success had dimmed at that point, and Don Johnson and Philip Michael Thomas were being divas, which led to Dick Wolf making the structure of Law and Order the way that it is, which is that everyone's replaceable.
Yep, because they don't want to have to deal with a cog in the machine.
Exactly.
Or they become a cog in the machine.
That's right. No one can have the diva fits where they stay in their trailer. And they were trying to make syndication. They were trying to get to they had to get to 100 episodes. That's why season 5 happened.
Wow.
But there's a great episode in season 4, great in quotes, that has Chris Rock and James Brown.
Okay, you got me interested.
Yes, good. I would love to show that to you sometime.
Yeah, I would love to see it.
Terrific. Well, Gala, this has been such a delight, and I'm so happy that we got to hang out in person finally.
I know, finally, after like this year. I just want to say, Craig, thank you, because when the Video Archives podcast like first started coming out, you were one of the first people, like other podcasters, that reached out to me and like said, hey, just want to introduce myself, like I'm Craig, and obviously other people aren't saying that they're Craig because there's only one of you, but
you were the first one to wrote and say I'm Craig. Then we got all these other letters saying I'm Craig, and I was like, there's more Craigs than I thought.
No, but you were like one of the first people to like message me and just say like, how can I support you, and like you're entering into this business, and I just really appreciated it. So it was so nice to finally meet you today after all of our online chatting about movies and this and that. So
that's really touching.
Happy,
seriously,
so.
I really appreciate that, and thank you as well. Not just for the show, which is my favorite podcast.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And also when there was some tough times, stressful times during the last year and everything, like Tuesdays, I was so excited. I was like, I got a new episode, and also they're lengthy, and
they are definitely lengthy, and they're staying that way. Just so everyone knows, they are staying that way.
Thank God, because a lot of people have this thought that shows should be 45 minutes. Horseshit. If you're interested in something, you're interested in it, and you bought the ticket, which I've said a lot because that's how I believe what I believe. And I'll put a shot in or something. The gift package that y'all gave me was so touching, and I love it. I have a customer card from it. But yeah, and thank you for saying that, because again, I love the show. It means a lot to me, and you do phenomenal work. And so
thank you so much.
And I'm so glad that we're friends now.
I know, we are Craig and friends. So.
Yes, exactly.
I'm officially a friend.
You are. Yeah, absolutely. Well, you were before.
Yeah, and now I am. Officially now.
Officially. Yeah. It's sealed. Yeah, I'll get you a customer card.
Great. I can't wait. I gotta get it signed by you.
Absolutely. Yeah, the full thing. All right.
Thanks, Craig.
Thank you. Until next time. Treat yourself right and head on over to patreon.com/CraigandFriends. Look at the reward tiers, see which one jumps out at you that you desire the most, and then just go for it. Grab life by the suspenders and pull at patreon.com/CraigandFriends.